Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
Ladies and gentlemen, what it do, baby? It is your boy Pride, joined alongside by Trey. We'll probably have a few more people joining us here in a minute, but for now, it is Batman and Robin, and the boy Wonder is here reporting for duty. Trey, how you doing today?
What's good? What's good? How y'all doing? I'm good. Pride, how you doing, sir?
I'm chilling, bro. I'm alive, and that's all I can ask for in these treacherous times. A lot of stuff coming up. We got some Heisman talk. Chip Kelly and Jason Garrett have both been linked to a few college teams, which why? But again, it's their own. I mean, I would assume people learned their lesson by now with Jason Garrett, but to each their own. But first, before we talk about anything, Demaryius Thomas, he passed away at the ripe old age of 33.
So young.
Yeah, way too young. It's wild. It's almost like, like honestly, I kind of forgot about him because he's one of the receivers that when he finished playing,
he was a quiet one.
Yeah, he was silent. He kind of just like, you know what, I'm done, I'm out, whatever the case may be. And then all of a sudden, I saw his name trending on Twitter, right? And my first instinct was, okay, just another receiver trying to make a comeback. That's what I thought, right? Because the last time he played was in 2019, and I saw he was still young. Like I said, he was only 33, so I was like, yeah, he's probably trying to make a comeback, all that stuff. And then I click on it because I'm curious. I'm like, you know what? Let's see what teams will be interested in him. And I click on it, and then it said that he died. If I read it right, he was in the shower and had a seizure.
Yeah, that's what they're currently believing that it was. It hasn't been confirmed yet, if I'm correct, but that's what it was likely. His cousin, who was like one of them sister cousins, basically came on and said that she grew up with him, where they're close to as almost like siblings, and he had been seizing since he retired, and it's possible as that he might have had a seizure while in the shower, which is very unfortunate situation. You know what I'm saying? Our hearts and our prayers and condolences go out to the Demaryius Thomas family. It's just one of those situations where things happen. You never know.
Yeah, Demaryius Thomas in his career, 4-time Pro Bowler. What up, Spotlight?
What up? What's going on?
Chilling. You?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I'm nervous today. It's my first media live coverage of the Paint Gathers a Bo Kimball Classic in Philadelphia, so I'll be doing live coverage of that. We'll be live on the Spotlight Sports Network for that live commentary. So pretty nervous, but I'll get through it.
I always feel like those types of jobs is one of those things or those type of gigs where like you get nervous for like the first 5 minutes, and then after that, all of a sudden you kind of forget everything, and you're so immersed in what's going on. So
I just want to do it for my cousin because Bo Kimball's my cousin. He played at him and Hank played at USC, and then they transferred to Lower Marymount at the back in the day in the 90s. So I just want to make sure I put that good impression on him.
Yeah, I feel you. But since I have you here, Demaryius Thomas passed away. Again, like me and Trey was just saying, dude was only 33. Dude was so young. I personally don't even think 33 is even the prime of your life, right? Because to me, that's still in terms of life. Right. You're still young. You know what I mean? 4-time Pro Bowler, right? And got a Super Bowl. However, towards the end of his career, it was sad. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was 2 torn Achilles, which kind of ended up hampering him to the point where people kind of were like, maybe he needs to hang it up. But Spotlight, how will you remember Demaryius Thomas?
Let's not forget that he had 1,000 receiving yards with the Denver Broncos as well. But the most memorable one is, the playoff win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That when Tebow threw it right across the middle and Demaryius Thomas
yards, right?
yards for the catch for a touchdown.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that was the first play in overtime. Right? I think it was the first play in overtime when he stiff-armed Ike Taylor like a mug. I was like, ooh. Yep. But go ahead.
But for him, that was one of the biggest, things that I've seen from, Demaryius Thomas. But the guy was like 6'3", 6'4", 220, and he can run all the routes as his size. So for him to, pass away, it was just like, and they saying that they found him at his home. So it's sad, that a talented guy that his career ended after 10 years. That's but he had a great career. Won a Super Bowl. He'd been to every Pro Bowl in his prime. So it's devastating. It's devastating. It's even though that I'm a Raiders fan, but still, like he gave us hell the whole time he was in Denver. So I mean, I could go off many times he went off on us, but the most memorable one is the Pittsburgh Steelers game.
Yep, and like you said, there have been multiple times he's had 1,000-yard season, and it's kind of funny because 3 of those years, that being 2012, 2013, and 2014, he had double-digit touchdown receptions.
And he won like top 5 or top 10 in like all time in the Broncos history for like receiving yards and receptions.
So, yeah. Yep. And he's he definitely was he was a great player, 100%. But it kind of shows you the other side of the game that people like us take for granted. Because Trey, you kind of touched on it earlier. He didn't really have these seizures until after he retired, which kind of links back to the head trauma, and it links back to all that stuff. And it's like, it kind of puts it in perspective, doesn't it, Trey? Like, football it's really hard.
It's a violent sport.
Yep.
As much as I love the game, man, I definitely, like, with my children, my sons, I very much so, if it ain't flag football right now, I tell them look at the game, pay attention to the game, learn the game, but I'm more of a purveyor towards basketball, or even, they get bags in baseball, so one of those, but it's just one of those things. Like, the game is a combat sport. It can be violent at times. People try to make a name for themselves, laying people out. Hard hitters is not the game of old. It's very different now. That's just one of those things where it's changing. Sign of the times.
Yeah, and again, it's a shame, and I really do feel bad because again, and I told you I was telling Spotlight this earlier. I'm sorry, Trey, this earlier, Spotlight. When I saw his name trending on Twitter, I thought he was gonna make a comeback. So that was the first thought in my mind, because I remember when he retired, because the last team he was on was the Patriots, and we had to cut him. And I remember I was like, I wonder why we cut him. I'm like, he's not really old, and I thought we could have had a position and a role for him, etc. But then I saw his name trending, so I'm like, oh yeah, let's see what teams are down bad. I thought it was going to be, the Saints or something like that. A team that's kind of down in terms
that
of
need a receiver.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. And all of a sudden I looked and they were like, oh no, like he's dead. He was found in his house unresponsive, all this stuff. And it's crazy because, again, he just retired a couple years ago. You know what I mean?
No, he retired this past June.
This year. Yeah.
This year.
He retired this year.
He retired in June.
2019 he retired.
I thought it was this year because they saying this year that he did it in June.
You know what it probably was? He
probably
More
retired with
likely-
it. He probably didn't play.
Yeah, I was about to say, he
probably
probably
retired.
didn't play and then announced, I'm retiring this year. That's
Correct.
probably what it was. Oh, Rhea said,
16 days before his birthday because he was born on Christmas Day.
ago. Yeah, so he probably didn't play last year and then did the whole formal thing. Yeah, kind of like what Ray Allen did. I don't think when he mentioned his retirement, I think he was out of the game for like a year and a half, something like that. Like he wouldn't play for a while. So that's probably what it was, But it's crazy, bro. I really do feel bad, and I feel bad because for his cousin too, because she showed up and all of a sudden, just was like
his birthday was right around the corner. He was born on Christmas Day. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And this is one of those stories because when you see athletes, it's always drugs or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And with this one, it's a shame because obviously he passed away, but he passed away due to something from the game. Like I believe the traumatic hand injuries he's had his fair share of concussions.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally believe maybe that had something to do with it. But again, rest in peace to the dude. Appreciate it, Mike. When you get here, we welcome you with open arms.
Right.
But, it's tough. I'm just hoping that, his family can kind of, I don't want to say come to terms, but can just, work together, take the time they need to, not only move forward with their lives, but also to honor his memory. Because even though he was quiet, me and Trey were talking about this earlier, when he retired, people really didn't really talk about him much because he was a quiet dude. Yeah. But he was still doing stuff in the community to try to bring others up and try to make a difference in the world. So I'm just hoping, all that doesn't go in vain. I hope his family kind of tries to keep it going. And I know it's tough. They're going to need some time, but, shout out to all of them. Spotlight, you got any final words on this topic?
The way I found out last night, and the funny thing is that I wasn't even on Twitter when I found out. I usually have my post notifications on for all Raiders content created on Instagram, and it's this guy named Raider Scout that actually, get the news right then and there. And I saw a post notification come through my phone, and I tapped. I'm like, why is he posting something about the Broncos? And I'm like, what's going on? And then he said R.I.P. DT, and I'm like, what? No way. And then that's when I saw the guy. I think his name is Miles Garrett or something like that on Twitter. He's a verified account. Yep. He was telling me about that was confirmed that he passed away, but they still didn't know why at that moment. But sad day in the football world. If you're a football fan, it's definitely a sad day in the football world. While a good game was going on between the Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers, that had to happen. So that was.
Was it a good game?
I mean,
I guess we get to it.
It was to the fourth.
Yeah, I was about to say, trust and believe. We gonna get into it because that was fun. That was hilarious. I'm telling you right now. But matter of fact, if you gentlemen don't mind, let's just dive into that right now. Okay. Right. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers lost to the Minnesota Vikings, 36-28. By the way, told you so. To all the people, and by the way, I will catch all you gentlemen in due time. I told y'all the Vikings would handle. I feel bad for Kirk Cousins. He had 2 interceptions. That second one was on him. I blame him completely. That first one, I can't remember who it was. One of the Steelers players, they kind of deflected it a little bit. Justin Jefferson should have still had it, but he didn't realize it got tipped too early, bounced off his hand.
Bush deflected.
It was Bush, yeah.
Yeah, it was Bush deflected it, but it was still a catchable ball.
Yeah, it still was, So I feel bad for Kirk, but 20, I think it was 29-0 before.
Yes.
It probably was at the half, if I'm not mistaken.
No, yes, it was at the half, and it was 29-0 when Pittsburgh finally decided. Let's show up. Let's go score points. Let's go put points. The kicker missed a field goal, and there was no win this time. So I was like, "What the hell?" He missed one. And then Boswell for the Steelers missed one. And I'm like, all right, this is the type of game it's going to be. This is what the type of game it's going to be. Ben Roethlisberger looked absolutely atrocious. Every single time someone, bro, it was to the point where the defensive tackle would just, before the snap, would go, and Big Ben was already going, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like he was already falling over. Every single time they were near him, he looked hurt. Let me start with you, Spotlight, because you try to make some implication here that this was a good game.
And I'm gonna tell you why.
Please explain
why.
Because Minnesota took the foot off the gas. That's exactly what happened. This could have been a dominant game by the Minnesota Vikings, but they took the foot off the gas and they got comfortable. This is when the game changed when that corner, whatever his last name was Boyd or something like that, got the tackle and got the unsportsmanlike. That changed the whole aspect of the game. It changed the whole aspect. It was so stupid. And then they end up scoring, and then the Vikings come back out, boom, interception. They now they got 14 points. So they took the fall off the gas. Defensively, they couldn't stop them in the second half. I don't know what adjustments was made, but if I was the Minnesota Vikings, I don't care how bad Dalvin Cook's shoulder is. You run the dang ball with him. I don't care if it's 40 carries. You run the football. It was even if you don't have Dalvin Cook, put Madison there. Madison was averaging 5 yards, 6 yards a carry. Run the dang ball. Why do you want to keep airing it out when you're up 29 or nothing? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But that's the reason why it was a good game, because they let Pittsburgh back in the game to make it interesting.
I think I'll be honest with you. By the way, boy got cussed out. Anthony Barr almost beat the shit out of him.
Oh, he was about to body slam him.
Anthony Barr almost. I thought I was going to witness a murder. What up, Mike? What up, Mike? I saw him. He went like this, and then he was like, I can't hit him, and then push him afterwards. I'm like, boy. I'm like, yo, Anthony Barr, we know you about it. Come on. Stop being like that. But he was screaming at him. Yo, another guy who was a complete buffoon this game, Chase Claypool. Dude was a moron. It was, I think, in the last 30 seconds, he got a first down. Had the ball in his hands, and instead of putting it down and lining up, he literally
he pointed for the first down.
For the first down. And I'm going to tell you this right now. He doesn't do that. Pittsburgh has one more play, and God knows what happens.
But do you really blame Claypool for losing his game when that tight end had the ball? Right?
I'm not saying no.
Oh, I'm about to say, because that tight end had
So I'll say this. Initially, I thought he had the ball, but when you went back and look at the replay, Smith made a hell of a play on the ball. He punched the ball out. Because I was like, at first I was like, dang. I was like, did they hit him that hard? Where they separated him? Nah. When they go back and show the replay, you see that he had it. It would have been a hell of a catch had he completed it, but Smith made a hell of a play on the ball and knocked the ball out from behind.
Oh, 100%. No, because I was watching it, and I didn't even realize he did that. I know it was Anthony Smith. Who else was it? I think it was Anthony Barr. I think Anthony Barr was there.
It was Barr. It was Barr and Harrison Smith and I thought Breathing maybe. I think it was 3 on the play.
No, it was Harris.
But I saw 2 of them hit him, and
not Harris. What's his name? Something Smith.
Harrison Smith.
Yeah.
Safety.
Oh, my favorite white boy. My favorite white boy.
Both of them hit.
Oh yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, I saw both of them hit the tight end. I thought that's what it was. I thought it was the hit. And then you actually look in, and all of a sudden it almost looked like he almost pulled it and said, I'll take this.
And then even as atrocious as Ben was, that was a hell of a pass too. He fit it. He put it exactly where it needed to go.
Yep. No, 100%. Real quick, someone asked, do you think Chase Claypool is a cancer?
Yes.
I'm gonna let all y'all go around. I will say this about Chase Claypool. Do I think he's a cancer? No, I just think he's immature. I just think he wants to change things that really doesn't need changing, but he's still a kid. You know what I mean? So I feel like, am I gonna go cancer? No, I'm not gonna go that far. I just personally believe he's just immature. He's too young. You give him a few more years, and then a lot of the stupid stuff you see him do, like the taunting call that he had, you'll see that kind of go away. You know what I mean? I mean, look, my thing was, if you're gonna call it on who was it?
Boyd?
The Pittsburgh, the guy on the Vikings who stopped. I think it was Najee Harris in the backfield, and he looked down and they
his last name Boyd.
Yeah, but if you're gonna hit him with that, then you gotta hit Chase Claypool with that same thing.
The call in general.
I hate the taunting call in general.
Yeah, it's just we had this conversation before. They just need to sit down and basically have a conversation. Be like, this is what's allowed. This is what's not allowed. You can taunt. Just look at the end zone. Don't look at the player. Just be consistent with the rules, because it's weird. Because last week I saw somebody do the same thing Boyd did when they went over and there was no flag.
Right.
And I've seen other players do it. So, the refs be on their fucking period. Ben Roethlisberger, 308 yards. Okay. 308 yards. We're not going to talk about the fact he had a QBR of 31.1.
33. His QBR was 33, yo.
Bro, I was on Twitter, and Mike, people had the nerve to say Ben Roethlisberger was bad.
Sure, I guess.
I've never in my life, I was this close to punching my monitor. Swear to God, the only reason I did it was because my fiance was behind me, and I yelled, "What the fuck?" And she came up to me. She thought something crazy happened. I was like, "No." She was like, "Oh, it's just sports." I'm like, "Listen, look here. This is real life. Like, people say Ben Roethlisberger is back. She didn't even know who it was. She calls how she refers to him, Ben. That's what she calls him, because she can't pronounce his last name. Like,
basically, you can say that for his season this year.
Yeah, 100%. No, Mike. Ben Roethlisberger believes it's what they're saying we can't hear, and then we can't hear it. That's why the taunting was called. But the refs weren't near him anyway to hear anything.
You can't hear in a stadium like that.
So that's why I personally believe. I don't think it was what they said. I genuinely believe it was him kind of flexing.
Yeah, no, there's no, from being in there and being in that kind of atmosphere before, there's no shot. You can't even hear the motherfucker standing. I couldn't even hear Darian, and he's as close as he is to me right now on the screen. I would not be able to hear Darian in an atmosphere like that. It's just there's no chance you hear me from 20 yards away.
Right, exactly. Right. So that's why I don't think he said anything. I just think it was, him flexing over him. The ref was like, throw the flag.
Now, when you see that, though, they have to view it as you did say something. And that's
right. Exactly.
Like Cassius Marsh of the Bears. Like, oh, well, he walked to the sideline and said something. And then you look at the video and his mouth is literally shut the entire time. So,
right. So I thought that's kind of what it was, where they kind of just, looked at him and was like, oh, my God, he must have said something because of his body energy, whatever, or his body movement, all this stuff. Najee Harris, 20 carries. He had 2 tutties, right? 2 tutties. I got him in fantasy, right?
A dog.
Oh my God. Yo, at first, swear to God, first half.
It was bad at first.
Bro, Mike, I was gonna be blessed if the man gave me 10 points.
Yeah.
I almost threw my phone.
Like, God bless his soul. We all miss him. Alex, he's been on Spotlight before. He's been on the ASAP network before. We were all doing ASAP fantasy. I was on his ass in the beginning. I was like, nah, Najee's a bust. Trade him to me, because I knew he was going to pick it up. And he kept saying no. And I was like, fuck. And then he started shooting off. I was like, I'm never
trying to finesse.
I was trying to finesse so hard. I was like, see, it's horrible.
Dre said, I've been on the sideline, man, the shit you hear. No, I'm not saying that they don't say wild.
Nah, you could hear shit, but you're not going to.
You're not going to hear from the refs 20 yards.
Yeah. The
not,
refs itself,
not logic.
Yeah, I don't think the refs really heard anything. I just think,
Now, when you're in a close proximity, I hear you. Like, if you're standing behind the quarterback and an offensive lineman says something, you might catch a glimpse of that. But, my boy, you were standing all the way on the other side of the field. Ain't no way.
Right. Trey, like I said, Najee Harris, 20 carries, 94 yards. He had a tutty. Ended the night with 2 tutties, which brought him to give me over 25 points. I might buy me a Najee Harris jersey. And I ain't even kidding. I'm considering.
I don't know about buying a Najee Harris jersey, because he did leave California to go to Alabama. But, he did show out. He did show out, last night, like you were saying, got me some fantasy points. Unfortunately, I for some reason had Dalvin Cook benched and missed out on that, but it is what it is.
Which honestly segues into the next thing I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna say that one more time. An injured Dalvin Cook, who, quote, needed a harness to keep his shoulder in place. Okay, this is real life, right? They looked at me and told me this dude's arm, his shoulder is so fucked that he needs a harness to keep it stabilized. 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, 27 carries. Went nuclear for literally no reason.
No. Pride. The biggest stat that you missed. What was his yards per carry?
I was actually going to get right into that. 7.6 yards per carry. That's
you said 7.6?
0.6. Yeah. 7.6.
At one time, it was at 9.8.
9.9. Yes.
Damn,
it was like 9.9, 9.8. It was, bro, at some point, I was like, look, at this point, the way he rushing, I ain't even going to lie. If I was Minnesota, I'm giving Dalvin Cook 35 touches. We're going for a record.
You could tell that he was missed in the Detroit game. You definitely could tell.
No debate. Like I said, freaking.
He had like what, 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first half, if I'm not mistaken.
I was trying to find it. He literally had 5 yards before contact. That's how much he averaged before anybody would touch him.
The offensive line blocked for his
The
ass.
The offensive line showed out last night.
Bro, the offensive line last night. I will tell you this, played the best football they have played all year.
Did you see the size of them holes? Like, man.
Oh, my God.
Mike could have ran through them joints, man. That's crazy.
Mike, I'm going to put it to you this way. Y'all remember when Trent Richardson all of a sudden woke up and decided to be trash? Put this Trent Richardson behind that line, and he can't miss that hole. Swear to God, he can't miss that hole. Swear to God. It literally looked like Jesus parting the Red Sea. Swear to God.
Yeah. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he missed those holes.
I don't think that's the right Bible thing. But
no, I know. I meant Moses.
Go off, bro. I'll let you have it.
I meant Moses. My bad.
Whichever one it was, I know it wasn't JC.
Nah. I know. I messed up. I meant Moses. But that's what it looked like, dog. Like, literally, for no reason whatsoever, the defensive line of Pittsburgh was just getting manhandled.
Yeah.
They were looking like children. Like, I swear to God, I saw I forgot his name. Udo, something like that. He's the only black guy in the starting lineup for in terms of their offensive line.
Oh yeah, that left tackle.
Yeah, the left tackle. I literally saw him pick somebody up and place him down and said, "Stay." You picked up another grown man who weighs about the same as you and literally did to him what I do to my daughter when she's misbehaving.
You know what the sad part about that, Pride?
Go ahead.
That's not even his primary position.
He
plays guard.
They were talking about that literally, that he only was at left tackle because of the injuries.
Right.
Because of the Mike. Imagine this. I'm a running back, right? But I'm not a catcher. I'm just a running back. I just get the ball. I just go. That's it, right? All of a sudden, we got injuries, right? It's crazy. We got no run game, right? Or we got no receivers, right? They throw me out by receiver, right? All of a sudden, in one game, I'm out here, 15 receptions. Let's go $180 with 2 tutties. That's how my man's was looking, bro. My dude literally was like, "Oh wait, y'all need me to step up? I got time today." Swear to God. It was like that he had time. Mike, let me ask you something. Spotlight is convinced that this was a good game. He's convinced.
I said up to the fourth quarter.
For Dalvin or for the Vikings?
No. He's talking about
just the game in general. Up to the third, up to the end of the third, going into the fourth, it became a good game because Vikings took the foot off the gas. That's what I said.
So, Mike, by the way, yes, I was a strong safety.
I was a free safety. Why are you taking shots at safeties?
No, because it was a story. Well, I was originally a free safety, and I told my coach, I'm not a bitch. Mama Mary's no bitch. I want to be strong safety, and I got fucked up, and it was bad. It was real bad.
That's why I switched. I had too many concussions at strong.
Oh my dog. All I know is I got hit and I woke up home. That's literally that literally how it went. And then I asked what happened. I saw the film and I was so embarrassed. So yeah, that was the beginning and end of my strong safety career. And then I ended up stopping football therefore after because I had too many concussions, went to soccer. And guess what? Still was getting concussions. So it's like, probably can never fucking win. But Mike, Spotlight looked at the camera, real life, said this was a good game. He looked at the camera mic with a straight face.
But I explained myself though.
You
bro.
explained
just
yourself.
trolling.
Listen, your spotlight. You explained yourself. You're still wrong, but you explained yourself. Yo, Mike. Did you think this was a good game at all?
I didn't even watch that shit. I really didn't. But I was watching the highlights. I got JJ on fantasy. Justin Jefferson had one hell of a game. He was doing his thing, so it gave me a good 20, solid with that. But it's a situation to where it's a good game for what it was. A lot of people thought it was going to be a very low-scoring game. A lot of people thought, there is no pass game with the Steelers and there is no run game with the Vikings, but that was the complete opposite of actually what happened. So I would say it was a pretty solid game because it wasn't exactly what you expected it to be. And to your point earlier about how good the Vikings can be from someone who is a Bears fan, I said it straight up. I go, if you guys had the balls to just move up and get Justin Fields, they'd be going to the Super Bowl next year. And I said that with my chest. And I said they could truly do that. I said you have Justin Fields, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. Get rid of Zimmer because that kid makes Nagy look like Bill Belichick. But it's that defense isn't bad either. So the offensive line, like you said, has its moments where they're top tier. I think the Steelers are long overdue for a rebuild. And to answer your earlier question, I don't think Claypool's a cancer. I think he's just, like you said, childish. And when there's guys like Big Ben, it is cancerous because Big Ben doesn't have time for that shit. So when you have a young quarterback, that's perfectly fine. If you have a Dwayne Haskins out there, that's perfectly fine. But when Big Ben's out there, he sees Juju, Claypool, and Johnson filming TikToks when you're Owen, whatever. He's like, dude, what the fuck are we doing right now? Like, this is ridiculous. Right. But again, Ben's worse than all three of those guys. So I'd look right back at them and say, fuck you, what are you doing? So it's the same thing, all peas in the pod. But I think it was relatively a decent game. It was fun. It was you had Jonathan out there flipping back and forth in between the Lakers game. He never does that. So it was a good game. And Justin Fields.
Well, we all know who was the better purple and gold last night. Was the Minnesota Vikings.
Right. Yeah.
Trey, I was trying to be a good noodle and not say nothing. I wasn't trying to say the fact that y'all got dog shitted on by the Grizzlies, I believe, without John Morant. I wasn't going to be that, and I wasn't going to say that. But I wasn't.
Gotta say it.
Going back to 500, I wasn't going to say anything like that because I'm not immature.
I am.
I'm not immature.
I am.
No, Mike was like, I'm immature. And look, all I'm saying, Trey, I didn't start it. That's it. I just want the record to show for the one time, literally the one time, I didn't start it.
I had to say something.
Trey, I just want you to know though, it's no shot at you, brother. What happened?
I was going to say. I was thinking what you're probably about to say. It just so. It's just one of those things that come when you have someone that speaks, saying highly of us and everything is about us, but then it's the low points come when saying the trolling comes when we lose because I got it.
It was more like this. The Bulls lost to the Cavs, and I was like, all right, that's cool. Now, 7 of our players out of 10 had COVID. Still do. So Freddie goes out there and says, the Bulls are over, the Bulls are ass, the Bulls are this. That's not an excuse. I said, all right, fine, keep that same energy. He said, oh, the Lakers are back. It's a new team now after beating the Celtics. I said, you sure about that? And even Pride said, most dysfunctional team in the league is the Boston Celtics. Are you sure about that? Yeah. He said, LeBron's back, AD's back, Westbrook's back, everyone's here. New team, new era. I said, all right, keep that same energy. Ja's not playing tonight. Then Brooks didn't play. Bro, new era, same whole shit. All right, Freddie. But, hey, no excuses though, right? We're going to keep that energy, right, Spot?
Keep the same energy.
They might have wanted to see, at least Trey can keep the same energy. Unlike Freddie, when the Lakers lose,
Trey keeps that energy. Trey will let me know.
Freddie goes MIA. Freddie goes on South Beach somewhere and and drink a cocktail and turn his phone on D&D and not hear nobody. That's the problem with Freddie when the Lakers lose.
Trey always gives me that same energy back. Trey will be like, that was a bad loss. I understand that. Freddie will go, oh, they still need 10 more games to get used to each other. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Before we go to the NBA, I do want to touch up on some of the NFL games we have coming up on Sunday. I kind of want to just rapid fire. I want to see who you guys think. So obviously, Vikings Steelers. Your boy picked the Vikings.
I did too.
Said, you picked the spotlight. Your spotlight.
Yeah, I picked the Vikings.
You and I, we're gonna go around. We're gonna collect the debt. You feel me? We gotta collect.
Of course, I picked the Vikings because if the Steelers lose, they go 6-6-1. That help us out a little bit for the Raiders to make the playoffs. I mean,
and I just want to say one thing. You feel me? You never go against someone like me, Trey. You never disagree with me when I tell you.
Gee, I just want to know, as an Italian man, what voice you trying to imitate right now, big dog?
See, I'm trying to do a couple things here. I'm trying to do Italian, but I'm also trying to be a little slick.
I'm a little offended right now, dog.
There's a little bit of being a loser in there, for Trey. On behalf of the Lakers and picking against the Vikings. You know what I mean? So, hey yo,
me and Trey are both offended.
Me and Trey. Look, so far I'm 1-0 for this week. Cha-ching, right? But this is gonna be a rough week. Saints and Jets. At this point, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a general consensus on who wins, right? Spotlight.
I would love.
Don't do that to me.
No. I'm just this game. I don't want to touch at all because even though that Taysom Hill is injured and stuff is injured and he had his little hand situation, I just don't know what the New Orleans Saints offensively. I mean, Kamara's coming back, but I mean they don't have no receivers that could really Taysom Hill could get the ball to, for real. I mean, Callaway is still young. I don't know who the guy is on the other side. Jared Cook is still there? No. He's with the Chargers.
Smith,
he with the Chargers.
Laquan, Traquan.
It's like they
don't got shit at tight end.
One of the
right.
I'm
nervous. I'm nervous about this game, and the Jets been spoilers this year. I mean, it's not really a spoiler game because the Saints ain't playing well either. So I mean, right. Can I say a tie?
No.
Can I say a tie?
No. Matter of fact, yeah, I'll let you. The only reason I'm gonna let you is because we actually had a tie in the NFL this year. If there was no tie, we'll let you say that.
Weak ass tie. Weak ass tie.
It's not a weak ass tie.
It is. Spotlight.
It's not.
No. Spotlight. That Detroit Pittsburgh game was a weak ass tie.
No, that was a weak
ass tie.
I picked Pittsburgh to win that game.
That was a weak ass tie.
Oh, that was horrible.
What New Orleans Saints team we're getting, and what Jets team are we getting?
No,
are we getting the Jets team? Are we getting the Jets team that beat the Titans?
That's it. No, that's it. That's it. Spotlight. I'm taking over. That's it. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what Saints team again. Look here.
They're dog shit.
All right, then say this thing. The only way the Saints will win, Alvin Kamara got to have 30 carries.
Nope.
That's the only way they win this game.
Matter of fact, guess what? If I'm Sean Payton, Alvin, you're not playing. Taysom Hill gonna take us to the promised land. Keep playing with me.
Taysom Hill's out.
Keep playing with me.
Taysom Hill is out.
For a long time.
Well, hold on. I didn't say I said what I would do. I didn't ask him if he was healthy. I'm telling him he is.
You fired tomorrow.
Look here. Hold on, time out. Look here.
You fired tomorrow.
Mike Zimmer, hold on. If the MRI can show Dalvin Cook got a torn labrum, and Mike Zimmer, who the only thing he has in common with doctors is the fact that he's got poor eyesight, needs glasses, could come on and go, nah, the MRI is wrong, and then start Dalvin Cook? Yeah, fuck that noise. If I'm Sean Payton,
quarterbacks are divas. They be injured for the littlest shit. They divas.
Look, I got the Saints, bro. I really do. I think Alvin Kamara, I think he's in a feast. I really do. I think it's going to be a combination of him running and also him kind of getting those screen passes. You know what I mean? Look, you don't got to throw deep. That's something you need to do. You don't got to throw deep. You have some receivers who can kind of make stuff happen. By the way, little Jordan Humphrey, I like him. I kind of do like him.
Is this game in New Orleans or is it New York?
You said what?
New York.
It's in New York. It's
so it's at Meth Life, not MetLife.
Yeah.
Yes. It's at Meth Life. Yep, Meth Life, 100%.
Okay, so I might just take the Saints here in Meth.
I'm gonna take this. And the thing is like the Saints defense, I believe, will be able to hold it down. And at the same time, you need one touchdown, a couple field goals, and work the clock. That's really
All right,
all the Saints have to do.
Bold prediction: Zach Wilson have 4 interceptions this game.
I say 2.
He's averaged at least 3 a game.
I know, but I think this is. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why I say only 2. I genuinely believe he's gonna stop going deep this game. I believe you're gonna see a lot of dump offs with him this game. I do see him going deep sometimes, and when they go deep, they're gonna get picked off. But I'll be honest, bro. If he throws 4 more interceptions, you just gotta release him. Just give up on the kid. Like this kid is not learning, just banging his head on the wall and is just confused. Like, why am I bleeding? Like, come on, bro. You gotta do better. Trey, Saints or Jets? Who you got?
Saints, man. I got just stay with the Saints. I just don't trust the Jets yet.
Mike, Saints, Jets.
Enough said.
Got it. So clean sweep. We all got the same. Next game, Falcons, Panthers. Spotlight. Let me start with you. Who you got? Yep.
Another dumbass game on this slate. Oh God, Christian McCaffrey's probably out again. I think he's back on IR.
Yeah, he's out for the year.
Yeah, he's out for the year. Oh yeah, now he's done for the year.
I mean, the Falcons ain't no better than the Panthers. I mean,
right? Like
they're no better. But I mean, I'm gonna take the Falcons, man. I just can't trust. I can't trust the Carolina Panthers. I can't trust the Falcons, but I gotta pick one, and I'm gonna pick the Falcons here. Falcons played a little bit good against the Panthers. I mean, the Buccaneers last week, they played a little bit good, not best, but they played a little bit good. But I think right now Carolina is just in the shit show, so I'm gonna take the Falcons.
All right, Trey, who you got? Panthers or the Falcons?
I'm going with the Panthers, man. They at home. It's a rivalry game. Cam is back. Battle of Cam versus Ryan. I think Cam could pull this out with their new OC. So I'm going with the Panthers.
Who is the new OC?
Oh my God! He was one of the assistants that they promoted. Oh my God! I'll tell you right now.
Oh,
but yeah, it's basically someone that he's the interim. He was like one of the assistants, offensive assistants.
He was assistant of an assistant.
Jeff Nixon.
Yeah, Jeff Nixon.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just put them. Jeff Nixon knew this guy who 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 was cousins who knew this guy who ran into Joe Brady when he got fired, and that's how he got referred to the job. So, Carolina reaching deep. They kind of,
SpongeBob.
I understand.
ASAP Network. That was hard.
No, so before being promoted, he's been the senior offensive assistant and a running back coach for the last 2 seasons. Prior to that, he was the co-offensive coordinator at Baylor University from 2017 to 2019.
He was under Matt Rule.
He was under Matt Rule.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because when I hear co-offensive coordinator,
that's a bitch word.
Under 100%, because
you ain't making no play calls.
Like, bro, like co-offensive, like, bro, you gotta share the responsibility. Come on, bro. Imagine having a company being co-managers. Come on, do better. Trey, you said you got Panthers. Mike, Falcons or Panthers?
I'll take ATL. I'll take ATL, to be honest.
Really?
I like what Cordell Patterson's doing. Kyle Pitts, I trust a lot. Gage has stepped up a lot. No one talks about Gage filling in for Calvin Ridley. He's been really impressive. I got him, and people were dogging me. They were calling it tampering. It was. Basketball trade. I got RJ Barrett basically for CEH of the Kansas City Chiefs for Gage, but Gage has been giving me 20, and CEH hasn't played since. So Gage has really stepped up. He's really being that guy. I think they get it over the hump just because of that fact. I believe they have Mike Davis as well. At any point in time, we know Mike Davis can go off. He's not consistent with it, but he can.
Yeah.
The fact that you have a running back minded guy in charge of the team that doesn't have a running back, which to Nate's point only is Cam Newton. And at this point, it really isn't. It's really difficult. So I'm gonna say ATL just for this one because I feel like they have an actual identity offensively, and they're still trying to figure it out over there in Carolina. And Christian McCaffrey's not helping that case.
Yeah, I'm not mad at y'all for saying that. However, I got the Panthers. I do not expect Cam Newton to have the game he had last week.
Right.
If he does, the Panthers need to cut him immediately. And I said I would rather you do that and just start PJ, see what you got with him.
I think you should have been started PJ before putting Cam Newton in the
I mean,
starting
to be
lineup.
honest, I wouldn't have signed. I would not have picked up Cam Newton. That's just me. I wouldn't have. I would have went with PJ, see what PJ
It's sold
can give me,
tickets.
go from
It's sold
there.
tickets, and that's what I think it did.
Right, yeah. So, but I'm gonna go with the Panthers. I think it's gonna be a close game. Next game, Seahawks, Texans. Believe it or not, I got this as a closer game than many people think, considering, Seattle has been a dumpster fire. Words are hard.
Both teams has been dumpster fire. Both teams.
So spotlight, who you got?
Why is there no good games on this goddamn slate? Like, I'm so sick of these terrible games, man. But I'm gonna go with the upset here. I think that Seattle defense is not that great. I think that Tyrod Taylor can definitely be very mobile against this defense. I mean, understanding that
I think Tyrod's out.
if he's out, then I'm picking Seattle. If that's the case.
I'll tell you, I'll look it up and keep it because I did hear that last time I heard he was questionable.
Yeah, I heard he was hurt again.
Yeah,
because I was gonna pick the Texans because of Tyrod Taylor. Because Tyrod Taylor could give them a very best chance to beat this mediocre Seattle defense. But if he's not in the game and you have to put in that other kid, I'm definitely taking Seattle here. Then.
Yeah. Okay. So, excuse me. So I'm looking at it here. It's a torn ligament.
Yeah.
Head coach. I think is head coach David Culley. He said we'll make a decision later in the week.
He ain't fucking playing.
And
he ain't playing.
Even though it's torn, he is taking starter snaps. Him and what's that other dude? Sims. What was his name again? Mills. There. Why say Sims? Mills. They're both taking the starter snaps.
I'm taking Seattle then because that doesn't
right. And then by the way, David Culley did say this. Taylor's injury would have, quote, no role in the decision in terms of him starting. So people genuinely believe and fear that he would start Mills even if Tyrod Taylor is healthy, which by far should be that should warrant jail time. That should warrant jail time.
Go to jail.
100%.
I'm
Matt
Seattle
Nagy,
with no running back.
Bro, that is Matt Nagy level of stupidity. That is.
Oh, my bad. They got AP now too, right?
It's up there, but it's not that
bad. I'm talking about this specific decision. Starting Mills.
Yeah, AP signed in Seattle.
That's crazy. That's wild. But yeah. So right now, Tyrod Taylor, Davis Mills, both of them, they don't have a starter yet. They're taking the snaps. They're going from there. So spotlight. You said
Seattle. It is.
So you got Seattle. Okay. Trey, Seattle or Houston?
Seattle.
Mike, I'm assuming you're gonna agree and make this clean sweep.
AP. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I don't care who you have at starting at Texans. I expect Russell Wilson to get it together. I'm saying that because I have him in fantasy. Russ, I will punch you in your throat if you let me down. Now, obviously, I say that
I need Russell to throw to DK because I have DK in my fantasy. Stop playing, Russ.
I do too.
Bro, target Tyler Lockett. Target Tyler Lockett, bro. Come on. Let's get it together. Let's, do whatever you got to do, Russ, because Russ has not looked good, and it's not the hand. It's not the hand that's not named. I don't know what it is, but
he wants out.
I'm starting to think that. I'm starting to think that he's just not happy there, and now it's starting to affect his play.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It has to be that really has to be, especially considering it's going to be the first time in his NFL career, if I'm not mistaken, that he's going to finish under 500. So, you know,
That's
with
crazy.
with that potential out there, it's going to be tough. But yeah, we all got Seattle.
Hey,
Raiders
Darian,
and
can I ask
Chiefs.
you a question?
Ooh, go ahead,
Go
Mike.
ahead.
Put him on the spot.
Nah, I was just reading the shirt. So when you be on the show, can anybody just rob that place? Because I know you paying attention to what we talking about. I see security.
Well, if you want to be honest, I'm actually working double because I'm actually got the cameras right here too.
Oh, all right. I was just curious. I was
So,
like,
I'm,
man.
I'm,
Hold
I'm
on,
good.
real quick.
I was
real
like,
quick,
we talking
real
about
quick.
the Seahawks, and they
Hold on.
talking about the bank vault. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Nah, hold on. I just want to say one thing, Mike. Your apology.
Thanks to COVID, nobody's in the building.
Yeah.
But real quick, Mike, that apology needs to be just as loud as the attempted disrespect you put on.
It wasn't
Spotlight
disrespect. I was like, man,
You
the whole
questioned
time
my man's.
I was looking at it and I was like, man, what if someone like walked behind him and like no one noticed? Like that should be crazy.
No, I'm in an office suite, so it's like I can see everything from in front of me.
Oh, he's fancy with it. All right,
Spotlight, I want to be like you when I grow up. I
I mean, I work for PayPal. What you supposed to expect, man?
Hey, it's fire.
Yo, Spotlight, give me a quick sheesh. Go sheesh one time for me.
No, I'm not doing that shit.
I'm gonna catch you in there. But
Dude,
next game,
we got 57 missed messages in the ASAP group chat. I ain't even doing this.
I'm
right
not
now.
touching it. I'm not touching it because I guarantee it's gonna. They're still talking about that Lakers poll. Swear to God, they're still
Yeah,
talking
it's
about.
Tony. It's Tony and Freddie. It's Tony and Freddie.
I knew it. They're still going back.
Yeah. That's why I got the ASAP group chat on mute.
On mute?
I have it on mute because of
real
that
quick.
Lakers stuff. When the Lakers
Yo,
lose,
that shit be
everybody
burnt. That'd be killing my battery, man. I'd be waking up. I'm like, what the
That's why.
Be like,
That's
yo,
why I
y'all
gotta
gonna
put it
make me
on
leave.
mute.
This is ridiculous.
Listen, I even muted my own spotlight group. Shit.
Unless I get the tag, I don't see it, bro.
Yeah, nah, because here's the thing.
Yup.
Like they go baby going hard, bro. It's crazy,
They do.
bro. I went to sleep. I literally yesterday I was trying to sleep, and I think it was like 1 a.m. My phone was still going on. I'm like, yeah, still popping. That's crazy.
Yeah, I D&D that shit. I D&D that shit.
that shit. He was like, I want to hear it. Spotlight. Let me start with you because obviously this is your team. Raiders and Chiefs. Holla at me with how you think it's looking.
Like I said on the Spotlight Raiders talk show that comes on, which is gonna be every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Starting next week. I said it on the show yesterday. I said the Raiders going to have to play a perfect game to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to have to play a perfect game. They're going to have the kicker not miss field goals. They're going to need Josh Jacobs to run for 100 yards. They're going to need his receivers to get open. Well, Carr needs to throw to open receivers. The defense don't give up a game-winning field goal in the fourth quarter. All three phases of this game, the Raiders are going to have to play perfectly.
But
I mean,
if you want to go that far, just talk about special teams and how you're going to need a kick return touchdown just to get some momentum. I mean, Trey, you dropped something.
And the way Trey just dropped his phone, and that's why the Kansas City Chiefs were that's how bad. I'm not even picking my own Raiders to win this game. I am not.
For real,
You talking about a Kansas City Chiefs defense that only gave up less than 30 points in the last 5 games. This offense is okay, but I know Travis Kelce always kill us every single time that he plays. Tyreek Hill always kills over the top. Gus Bradley does not make no adjustments at all.
Hell no.
He plays a 4-2-5 cover 3, which that would never win in this league, in my opinion. We only have 2 linebackers in the middle of the field. So technically, I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs over my Raiders.
Right.
Trey, you agree with him?
No, I'm Kansas City, of course, yes. Yeah, I mean they're starting to spark. They're starting to hit at the right point. They got they're starting to get all their players back. The defense is starting to click. At this point, with the Raiders slowly but surely trending down, I think Kansas City can catching them at the right time, and it's going to probably pull out the win.
Damn, Mike, you making it 3 for 3?
Mm-mm.
Yes, sir. Let's go. I'm
Mike,
glad.
you
bro.
got more. Mike, you got belief in my Raiders? You got belief?
Hell no. I just like Derek. I believe in Derek. I think what Derek stands for with this team, he's one of those guys that's like, this shit's fucked, and he knows it. So a win like this means everything to the Raiders. Whereas the Chiefs, we know how they are. We know how by trade. We know how they operate. They're very. What's the word? It's not like they're full of themselves, but they acknowledge how good they are, and I feel like they rely on a lot of athleticism and a lot of overall talent than their overall game plan. So I do think Darren Waller could catch you slipping. I do think Hunter Renfrow could catch you slipping. Edwards is dog shit. I'm not even gonna lie to you, Spot.
What? I've been saying it the last 2 years, bro.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Now Ruggs being gone is, I feel like, he's even more of a reason why I'd want them to win. Josh Jacobs, I don't believe in as a running back anymore. I
don't believe in the offensive line either. Offensive line stinks.
Josh Jacobs is one of those guys that. Here's the thing: when David Montgomery rushes over 100 yards for the Chicago Bears, it shows me how real he is, because that offensive line is dog shit. So when Josh Jacobs can't do anything, I even to the point of Najee Harris, as a rookie, you have a dog shit offensive line. 4 of the 5 guys are young guys who never really played on other teams before. They're brand new, and you're still dogging it. Now, Josh Jacobs, you've been in this league a while. You have your off the field issues, and now you're not performing well. I think it comes to a point where you kind of start to realize, like, I think it's time to move on, because you're definitely not going to pay that guy. But I'll take the Raiders this week. I think it's do or die for them. The same with the Indianapolis Colts. They have to win out pretty much. They have to win out, and they have to do what they got to do to be able to make it.
I'm gonna tell this brief story. Like I said before, when I watched the Raiders and Dallas game, I didn't watch it, and I went on a date with a female, and we won. Maybe I need to do that this weekend and not watch the game and go on a date with a female so the Raiders can win. I'm telling you, trust the dates. That's what I'm calling. Trust the dates.
Look, I'm gonna put it to you out this way, man. First and foremost, shout out Derek Carr. He's been a lot of people have been dog shitting on him. And I feel bad because Derek Carr put him in the same situation with Tua Tagovailoa. They breathe the wrong way, and it's their fault. They could have a perfect, spotless game. They lose, and it's their fault and their fault alone. So I really feel bad for Derek Carr. By the way,
I feel bad for him too. Like I said, get out and dodge, Derek Carr. Yep. You got 1 year left on your contract. Get out and dodge.
After that, but I will say this, and Patrick Mahomes has not scored a touchdown in the last 2 games. Ever since he had that phenomenal 5-game touchdown against the Raiders,
Bears,
he hasn't looked the same since. I'm just throwing that out there for consistency's sake. And I genuinely believe that he might continue. And it's crazy because the defense is getting better. Their offense isn't.
Right.
If we're going to be honest.
I've been saying this.
I understand that, y'all, but you have to fail to realize we have a defensive coordinator in Gus Bradley that plays 8 to 10 yards off of cornerbacks.
Right.
Every down, no matter if
which is fine. Well, hold on. But here's the thing. But let me tell you why I believe that will work. I'm going to tell you why I think that would work against the Chiefs. I'm going to tell you why I think that would work against the Chiefs. Who are their route runners? Tyreek Hill is not a route runner. Let's not.
He's not.
Let's not. Like people say, oh yeah, he's a better route runner than who he was. Then yeah, congratulations. Like 3-week-old garbage does, it smells better than shit. But that still does not mean the garbage smells like roses and bubbles. They're still both bad. He's still a horrible route runner. The only route runner on that team is who? Probably Travis Kelce. That's probably their best route runner.
I understand that. But look what Taylor Heineke did with a wide receiver core, right?
T-Town.
They dink and dunk the whole field.
Yes, sir.
They didn't even have to go deep to beat us. They dinked and dunked because Gus Bradley played too far off. They beat us in screens. They beat us in yards after the catch. That's the problem with the Raiders defense. And then on top of that, you have 2 defensive ends in Yannick Ngakoue and Max Crosby, where they're not run-stopping defensive ends that go upfield every single time. Right. So you know what happens with that? Tight end delay to Kelce. Every single time. It never fails with this defense. It's no adjustments.
But no. We've seen this before, though. We've seen them, the Chiefs, Like, let Travis Kelce go wild with over 120 yards, and they lose.
Right. And that's my thing, though. You made the Heineke point, but that's the beauty of Andy Reid will make that adjustment. And I don't feel like that would happen again. Here's my thing, and I've been saying it for years. What the Patrick Mahomes you're seeing right now is to all the dumbass motherfuckers who said that the Bears should have took Patrick Mahomes. This would have been the consistent Patrick Mahomes that you would have seen on Chicago. Because you would not have had MVP Patrick Mahomes. I don't think you have him in Chicago with Nagy. I don't think that happens. I think Patrick Mahomes is in a perfect situation, and he's unfortunately just going through it right now. But you can tell at the end of the day that even Patrick said it, like, I couldn't read defenses until my second year in the league, halfway through my third year in the league. I think sometimes he gets caught up a little bit in the flashy plays, and he gets caught up in those moments. And he relies on Kelce. He relies on Hill. And I said it from the jump. When you have Hall of Famers surrounded around you, and let's be real, at that point in time, Kareem Hunt was on the verge of being a top back in that league. You have Sammy Watkins. You have a bunch of dogs. Like, he went into I think Mitchell Trubisky would have even thrived, or Deshaun Watson, in that fucking offense. I truly do. So I look at it like that, and I don't think that Patrick Mahomes would have been the guy he was in Chicago. I think Deshaun Watson still would have been that guy. He just has those intangibles. He's just bred like that. But Patrick, I think, definitely would have struggled. And I think you're starting to see that now, that not that we shouldn't have taken Mitch, but just that I don't think it wouldn't have been that much different.
Yeah. And I do see where you're coming from. Go ahead.
I just see at the end of the day, when it comes to my Raiders team, we had one of the oldest coaching staffs in football with one of the youngest teams in football. It doesn't work that way.
And look, that is a problem. That definitely is a problem. That you
want Nagy?
A whole bunch of young guys.
I don't want Nagy. No,
you can have him.
I don't want that. I don't want Nagy.
No,
I already sent him.
It's all good.
I already sent him.
No, and I'm not even a Raiders fan.
Well, do you want to trade?
No receipt.
Do you want to trade? You want John Gruden back in the league? I mean, what you saying, Mike? What you saying? You want John Gruden back?
I will take Henry Ruggs as it is right now for Matt Nagy.
And you ready to hear the funny part? Ready to hear the funny part? With that trade, guess what? Mike is still pulling a highway robbery. Let that sink in.
He might come back one day. But Matt, 10 years from now, 30 years from now, when Henry Ruggs is walking out of jail, will still be dog shit.
I'm telling you, Mike, no matter how long John Gruden comes back to the league, he's still going to have an offensive playbook for Matt in 1990.
Oh, I don't want that boy. I'll just take him. I don't want that boy.
I'm just saying.
Take his emailing ass home.
You can play Techno Bowl.
We got a split here. So me and Mike, we got the Chiefs. We got the Raiders. You guys got the Chiefs.
I was about to say, bro, did you just miss my whole argument?
My bad. Your boy low-key stupid. We got to remember that. I'm low-key stupid. We got to remember that. But it's so, Trey, remember, when I come for the receipts, don't go missing on me. Don't pull a Bishop. When I come to get my respect, don't pull a Bishop and dip on me, bro. I'm just throwing that out there. Next game, Ravens-Browns, which I anticipate to be a dumpster fire of a game. Mike, let me start with you. Who do you have winning?
Ravens-Browns? Damn. I'm going to say, I want to say Ravens, but yeah, I'll say Ravens. I don't like the Browns. I'll say Ravens.
Trey.
Ravens all the way.
Wow. Spotlight.
I'm going to have to go with the Ravens. I can't go with a one-legged Baker Mayfield and a one-armed Baker Mayfield that looks like a doctor operation toy. Absolutely not. I'm going with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
Yes, sir. I'm glad you said that because Lamar Jackson is playing like he literally has one arm. I would assume he's throwing with his wrong hand. I got the Browns, 100%. I don't care what anyone says. And then again, when the Browns win, when they handle their business, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be smug as shit come Monday. By the way, they're going to
really have to. The one thing the Browns are going to have to do, they have to establish a run game to get.
No, they're going to. Yeah, that's the only.
They're going to have to do that. That's the only way they got to win the game.
That is the only caveat I got. Where Nick Chubb, you need to utilize Nick Chubb.
You're in trouble.
Kareem Hunt a lot.
Yeah,
and I think they can because I think Baker's going to understand I'm not feeling good. So this is going to be at the game where I gotta have to let them kind of carry. So.
I don't think Baker's the one that understands that. I feel like your OC understands that. Baker's still.
I think he would only because he's physically feeling like shit.
Nah,
If I'm
Baker.
if I'm Baker Mayfield, every time we have a pass to play, I'm audibly kill. Every time. Run the ball.
What they should do what New England did when we played the Bills. That's what they should do.
Yup. Run a halfback blast from Madden 97.
Because the thing is, they have two guys. Like, if we're gonna be honest, they have two guys. Look, Nick Chubb is a premier back. It's felt like you said it. Kareem Hunt, had he not, if he didn't, do what he did,
Kick somebody.
not only would he be a starter, but people would be arguing he's a top 5 running back. That's the trajectory this dude was going on, Then obviously he did the shenanigans he did,
And he'd be a champion.
Yeah, right. He would be a champion. And imagine if he was a champion, do you know how high his thing would be? It would be wild. But like I said, for the Browns, they both need to run the ball. And when I say both, I'm referring to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I think then you'll be able to utilize some play action. So when you can throw the ball a few times. Me personally, I would think Baker should throw the ball no more than 15 times. I don't think he should throw the ball any more than that. And I think most of the passes you do are screens and play action. I don't think you should, you know what I mean? I mean, maybe if
not have him regularly drop back.
Yeah. I mean, the only time I'd have him drop back if it's like the end of the quarter and you want to throw it to try to get a touchdown, maybe. But outside of that, ain't no way, no how he should be throwing over 15. That's what I would do. Do kind of what Pittsburgh was doing yesterday in the second half when they were actually moving the pocket. When Ben would get the snap and he would just run towards the sideline to try to. They should do kind of something like that. But I got the Browns. The next game.
Oh yeah. But we've been talking about games for like a fucking hour. My fault, Pride.
Anyway.
I was just thinking about
it. It is what it is, Mike. I don't give a shit.
I was like, damn, hold up. What game is even that?
Number one seed in the AFC.
What the fuck is your name? Gargamel.
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 Gargamel? That sounds like a foreign mouthwash.
That sounds like a Smurf guy, isn't it? Gargamel.
That sounds like a WWE's character's name.
That's the bad guy's name in the Smurfs, wasn't it? They tried to kidnap him. Gargamel.
All right. Two more games I want to touch on. Bills and Buccaneers. Spotlight. I'm gonna start with you. Who you got?
Oh fuck.
I'm taking the Bucks here. I'm taking the Bucks here because I do like the way Leonard Fournette has been running the football effectively to get the ball out of Tom Brady's hands. He's been playing really well. Tom Brady, Tom Brady is Tom Brady as usual, and this defense is coming around a little bit better too. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I just think that right now the Buffalo Bills is one-dimensional. They don't have a running game. They'll rely on Dawson Knox and Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley, but they don't have no running game to establish a play action. So I'm going with the Buccaneers here.
Mike, do you agree?
Yeah, I know Coach is out there somewhere on the edge of his seat waiting for me to say it's going to be Josh Allen, but I don't believe in this Bills offensive-minded system. I love Brian Daboll. I think Brian Daboll is a great offensive coordinator. I think Sean McDermott's a great head coach. The problem to me is Singletary in no way, shape, or form deserves to be in the NFL. He just doesn't. Like, he's not a good back. He's not good at what he does. Moss is nice. He just can't stay healthy. He's young. He's still trying to figure out that role. Josh Allen's regressed a little bit. And I think the big reason that he has regressed is the same reason that you've seen Matthew Stafford regress and a couple other individuals like Patrick Mahomes is you are a one-dimensional offense, and once defenses can prepare themselves for that, it's very easy to get under your skin and to make you make mistakes when all you have to worry about is the passing perspective from a quarterback. So not having to worry about the running game, which, by the way, even if they do want to run the ball, Tampa has one of the best run-stopping defenses in the league. What did he say? Something about the Ravens?
You don't believe in the Ravens defense.
Do you believe in the Ravens defense? I don't. It's not consistent, but it's definitely something to be aware of. But they just have injuries on injuries, so that's their problem. But I'll take the Bucks in this game. The Bills are so incomplete from an offensive standpoint. If it wasn't for Knox, I really think this is a really, really bad season.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm gonna go Tampa Bay. I'm not gonna.
This is in Tampa, right?
Yes. Yes, it's in Tampa. By the way, Dre, I want an apology. You have Steelers. I have Vikings. I want my
No, he
restitution.
picked the. Did he pick the?
No, he
Drake
didn't.
picked-
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Because I said he was a Steelers fan, and he said no. I'm a Dallas fan.
No, yeah, he's a Dallas fan, but I know on Dante's show yesterday he picked the Vikings.
Nah, Dre, you got some explaining to do, Brody.
No, that
Got
I
you
don't know if that's the same Dre that y'all talking about.
No, because there's another Dre. There's another Dre in the chat.
Yeah, that's the.
This is
he's
the
a
Dre
part of-
that
he's
you're
a part of
talking about. Dre Montez.
No, Dre Orr is my guy on Spotlight. That's my guy.
Really?
Yeah, he just debuted on our show on Dante's show yesterday.
We'll go back to the archive. I'll go back to the archive.
Go back to Don. Go to Coach's Corner on Spotlight Sports Network. He picked the Vikings.
I'm minding my business.
We'll see. We'll see. But I got obviously I'm not gonna bet against that man, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. Remember, he's got a father, so it's not senior, junior. I'm not ever in my life gonna pick against that man.
It's the full name for me.
Definitely. Once I saw Dalvin Cook was starting, I changed my pick. I'm saying, yesterday morning he had the Steelers.
That's fair though. If it's before the game, I'll give it to him.
No, but I didn't know he switched it. I didn't know.
But
That's what I'm saying.
Of course he changed his pick because he won money last night. That's one guy that wins mad money and betting. He won $10K. I'm telling you, God knows what he's doing.
But I will say this, because a lot of people don't like Josh Allen. I will say this:
I like Joshy.
Yeah, just because we don't pick the Bills doesn't mean we don't believe in Josh Allen. Oh wait, Josh Allen has to have a signature moment. I don't like.
I disagree with that too. Josh Allen is a good quarterback.
I'm gonna tell you this right off spot. When I hear people say that, I don't take them serious. Me personally, I believe that's a lazy take. That's just me, because if you're relying on someone to have a great moment, so then their stats don't matter. Right? So then Tim Tebow was great because he's had moments. So does that mean he's great?
Jay Cutler's the GOAT.
Right, exactly.
If that's the case. Yeah.
So when people say, "Oh yeah, he needs to have a moment,"
Right.
I just nod my head. I just go, "Okay," and then I just refrain from speaking to you because it's like, if
The
if
word,
that's
and it's no shot at Coach, but he does say it a lot. I always try to tell him the reason you don't see the moments is because you're not watching the games. Now you're only watching the nationally televised games, that's just probably once or twice a year. If
matters.
you don't see a big moment in a primetime game, I don't think that makes you not a superstar. If you watch week to week basis, like me, when I watch baseball and I watch the Cubs, I am deep into their farm system. I'm deep into every farm system. I know who's going to be a dog and who's not before they even come into the league because I watch every single game. I do my homework on these guys. Pride does the same. So Javier Baez, I said, it's going to take a minute, but he's going to be a superstar at one point. Yep. Now, if you only watch the World Series, you'd be like, wow, he didn't really perform that well. But why are they there? Is because this whole team is full of superstars. You got to think of it from that perspective. If you're only watching some games, you're not getting the full handle of it.
Yeah. Josh Allen need to throw to Cole Beasley a little bit more. I got Cole Beasley in my damn fantasy.
Yeah.
Throw the ball to him.
He's not vaccinated, so I didn't want to take a shot picking him up.
But
he did put up numbers in the beginning of the year when he did come back, but then you went away from him. Throw him the dang ball.
Yeah, my whole thing with the Bills and the main reason why I'm picking them. Look, I think Devin Singletary could be a good running back. I do. I do think so. I think him. Hold on, just hear me out. In the role that he needs to fill,
right,
for Buffalo,
I like Moss.
I think he could be good. Oh no! Don't get it twisted. Of course, me personally, if you want to start one, if you want to start Moss, I don't mind. Trust me, I'm not mad. But you need to run the ball because the problem is, and I said this all the time, they're the West Coast, they're the East Coast Rams, and they're the bizarre world of the Ravens. They want to keep on throwing, and that's not a good thing because you eventually need some depth, some dimension to your game. Go ahead, Mike.
My problem with Devin is you're 5'7", 210 pounds, and you're slow as shit. You're not a running back in this league anymore, bro. I'm sorry. It's just point blank period. You're not like Tariq Cohen on the Bears where at least you're fast. We could put you in the slot and we can make it work. You're 5'7" as well. But he's just slow and he's inefficient and he can't see over the line. And that's my problem.
But don't you think he could be at least like a backup?
not an efficient one.
Dang, you don't think you could back up Zach
Not
Moss?
one that would be on the same team every year.
Nah,
I think for me, I think Singletary has to be in a certain system for him to succeed in this league. He's not an every down back.
So you would put him in like San Francisco.
We could
Yeah,
put
it's like a
I'll put him
running
in
back by committee.
I will put him in a running back by committee.
Okay. All right. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. The way I look at it, I think Devin Singletary could get some touches and do something, because at the same time, what you're not asking him to be a 1,000-yard rusher.
right.
You know what I mean? That's kind of why I look at it.
But I think that's the expectation that you want.
Well, I mean, no. I think Zach Moss, that'll be the expectation. What up, Jay?
What up?
I think the expectation like that should be for Zach Moss.
Right.
I don't think for Devin Singletary it should be that. It should be, give us like 500 yards, give us enough where the defense, no matter what running back we put back there, they got to respect it. So that way, they're comfortable running the ball. You know what I mean?
Right.
You made a face. I'm assuming you kind of want to rebut what I just said.
You talking about me?
Yeah, you made a face of what I said, so you want to rebut it?
I just feel like Montgomery is one of those guys that as you get him going, he gets going.
Who?
And Montgomery
Singletary.
in Buffalo, or Singletary, I'm sorry, Singletary in Buffalo. I just think he's one of those guys that once he gets going, once you get him going, he gets going. So, as sparingly as they do run the ball, he never gets that momentum. He never gets that, that feeling, you know what I mean? Because that's the same thing. I'll take Carmelo Anthony as an example. When Carmelo gets going, he's unstoppable. But if you're using him sparingly, he's kind of hit or miss. So I feel the same way about Singletary. Buffalo, we talked about it last week. They need to run the ball, and not only for the fact of their running backs to get into that rhythm, but for the fact to give Josh Allen more of a weapon and to have that play action pass, to have those moments to give Diggs the opportunity to get downfield and him have the opportunity to make that pass without having people all up in his face.
Right. Yeah. But my point, Jay, was mainly, I hear what you're saying. Giving this guy 20 carries a game will get him going, or even just 15. That's perfectly fine. But when you're 5'7" and not athletic, you can't get those reps because, one, you're going to get hurt, and two, you're just going to be inefficient. So I don't view it as that. Now, Pride, you mentioned, we don't look at him as a 1,000-yard rusher anymore. When they brought him in, they expected him to be that role. He's failed that role. So that's my biggest thing to why I think it's so disappointing, is because it's not a situation where it's like, okay, you came in here, Khalil Herbert of the Bears, perfect example. David Montgomery is clear-cut number one, right? Now, Khalil's a 6th-round pick. When Khalil has over 100 rushing yards a game, that's not expected. But when he's doing it, that's great. We don't expect him to be great. We expect 300 to 500 yards a season, if that. But in Devin's sake, you weren't a 6th-round pick. You were picked fairly highly. I believe it was the 2nd or 3rd round.
Mm-hmm.
You look at it like that, and now 2 years later, you're taking Moss in the 2nd or 3rd round. It's a situation where I think they've just completely given up on Devin. They understand that Josh can't get it done with his legs, and Moss can get it done when he's healthy with his stuff. I think Devin's on his way out. I think you might see him go somewhere like Philly or something along those lines. I don't think he stays.
But I don't believe you're feeling that way, to be honest. I don't. I personally believe he could be a respectable backup running back.
Right. I think he's the Nick Foles of backups. He will be.
Yeah, I feel like he'll be able to do that.
He's a journeyman.
Make sure you give Zach Moss the reps. But I feel like you're kind of poo-pooing on Devin Singletary just a little bit too much.
Oh, I'll say it. He's dog shit, in my opinion.
And that's to me, I feel like he never really got a clear shake.
No, he never. When he got to Buffalo,
and even with Moss right now, he hasn't really got a clear clear shake. So I honestly, with the dual running back systems that are coming to be more popular in NFL right now, and it's actually becoming a necessity, I think that if they gave the running back, if they rushed the ball and they gave it an honest go, I think Zach and Singletary can bounce and complement off of each other to make a nice tangent. Will they be individually great? probably doubt it. I probably have to lean more on your side of what you're saying individually.
Right. But
Right. And before I let you go, Mike, real quick, before I let you
go
go, it's kind of the same thing how we look at Zeke and Tony Pollard, right?
Mm-mm.
Tony Pollard is not a starter.
No.
Let me explain why. I'm referring to the tandem part that you were speaking about,
right?
Because Tony Pollard is not a starter. Let's call it what it is, right? He's not going to be a starter on every team, right? It's the fact that he's there and it's that 1-2 punch he has with Zeke that makes Tony Pollard look so great.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what
I mean. That they got an offensive line. They got. We can add to it.
I'm just referring to the actual tandem part of that. You know what I mean?
That's
what I'm saying with Devin Singletary, I feel like he can kind of fill that role with him and Zach Moss kind of, working hand in hand. I believe they can. But Mike, let me ask you something, Mike. Don't you think it's unfair?
No.
Somebody really said Pollard is better than Zeke. That's a conversation for a whole nother day.
It's a definite conversation.
That's a conversation for a whole nother day.
It's a definite conversation.
That's a conversation for a whole nother day.
You go with it whatever way you want. I don't want to be in that.
But I'm just gonna say this, Mike, real quick before we move on to the last game. Because don't you think it's kind of unfair? Because if we're gonna be honest, the biggest criticism I have of the Bills and everyone else has, they're not running the ball like how they should be. They should be running the ball more consistently. So don't you think that kind of has to factor in a little bit with how Devin Singletary's been looking? Because look, if you're only getting limited touches, it's going to be hard for you to look respectable, if they're kind of just, not giving you a fair shake.
Here's my biggest thing in the way I look at it. You talk about these tandems. The problem with that is one guy in the tandem is two-dimensional always. Pollard is that guy who's two-dimensional. Zeke is more of that guy who's running through you. Kareem Hunt is more of that. I mean, Kareem Hunt and Chubb, honestly, both can both catch the football. With Moss is still too young to be that guy. So you can really rely on him from a passing perspective, from a dual threat perspective. And Devin, respectfully, isn't either. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be put in a situation where I'm going to put you on a linebacker because he's 5'7". He can't catch the ball consistently. That's just his biggest problem. And I'm a guy who believes in guys like Devin. I love Jordan Howards. I love the guys who are just clear-cut, running up the middle. They're hard-nosed guys. The problem is when Jordan hit you, he knocked you on your ass. When Devin hit you, he gets kind of knocked on his ass because he's 5'7", and that's no shot. I'm 5'8.5" on a good day. Like, I understand though. When I played the game, I came at you with my whole body, and I understood that my body was the biggest part of my game is because I had to hit somebody. Jay, we did, but it's definitely something where, with that, it can't be a dual threat because you don't even have one guy who's a dual threat. So how are you going to have a dual threat if one's a rookie pretty much and the other one's on his way out? It's not a good look. Now, here's the thing with the Bears, and you mentioned it, not getting the opportunities. Jordan Howard didn't get the opportunities, but when he did, he rushed over 100 yards. Tariq Cohen, he's 5'7" as well. I'm not going to knock him for his height because I said the same thing. Tariq Cohen can't run the ball effectively, fine. Put him in the slot, and he'll have over 50 yards passing and then 40 yards rushing. So he can be that dual threat that you need in that Matt Nagy offense. With Devin Singletary, you're not really going to do that with him. And Moss can't stay healthy, so really all you can do is rely on Allen. So I don't blame Brian DeBall or Sean McDermott for not giving him those opportunities because he's had them. He just doesn't work with it. And the same,
I agree with you.
Me and Jay talk about it all the time. This is my last point. David Montgomery was not supposed to be who he was. Matt Nagy did not want David Montgomery to get snaps.
Nope. He wants him now because of what he's doing, but originally he didn't want it.
He forced his way into that lineup, into that rotation, into this system. He made it run the football. Now, Devin, bro, you have to do that. And I know that sounds horrible, but you do. Pollard was not going to get the snaps he gets now unless he balled out given the opportunity. So I don't care if you only have 7 carries. Make them
What
count.
did you do with them?
Right. Make them count. And that's all I ask. And Devin has never shown me – I know I hate talking about moments, but I watch a lot of Devin Singletary because I had him on my fantasy team. There's not one moment in a single game where I said that was a good run. I said that's a good block. I never said that's a good run.
And that speaks leaps and bounds to where they get their progressions from. Because like you say, Mike, like the eye test is real. I tell people all the time, the eye test is real. You can see a running back that's right there, that's getting tripped up at that last second right before he breaks that for the 20 or 30 yards. And you can see a guy that's like, he got an extra yard or two on a thing that was supposed to be a no gain.
Right, on a block,
So,
right.
Correct. So, and I agree with you 1000% on the eye test. He doesn't have those, like you said, like, oh man, that was a really good run, or oh man, if he just hit that, or if he just cut back, or we don't even have
I
those.
don't see him progressing in any way.
You're right. And I'll give you that but again, I'm going to put two things back on Buffalo.
Right.
I'm going to put it in two different aspects. Number one, because we do sit up here and say that we haven't seen the progression. Why haven't you guys done anything?
Right.
Number two, again, the opportunities. I put that on Buffalo as well because they haven't built a good offensive line to run the ball. Right. They haven't given them the necessary tool bag, as you speak, to have those opportunities to be successful.
Right.
But again, no excuses. You're in the NFL. When you get that opportunity, you have to capitalize.
Right.
Yeah, and I get your point. I really do. At the end of the day, regardless of who it is, regardless of what they do, they're gonna need to have some type of run game. Regardless, now whether it be Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, or they go out and get someone, whatever the case may be, in order for them to get over that hump,
Saquon,
I'll be honest, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. And by the way, people are saying, because this is one comment, people are kind of saying, Bills are not built to run.
They aren't.
I understand they're not
built to run. That's it.
Right, but here's the thing: even though I understand they're not built to run the ball decent. You don't have to be. You don't have to be built to run the ball. Because my thing is,
it's all about game planning at that point.
Exactly. Because the thing
and
is,
that comes down to coaching.
You just need to run the ball well enough where, let's say you do a play action, they got to respect you. Mm-hmm. You just got to run the ball well enough so when the throwing isn't working, you can take a break. Run the ball for 5-6 plays.
I'll put this out here.
Go ahead.
Watch out next year because something happened in the desert this year. Chase Edmonds got hurt. And James Conner capitalized big time.
He did.
And I don't know with our setup, because we do have Benjamin sitting back there as well. I don't know if we keep Chase Edmonds next year.
And I wouldn't be surprised because James Conner fits what the Cardinals are doing.
Power running
perfectly.
And he has the speed to break away. But what I was getting at with that is Buffalo, this is your opportunity to grab a young guy that's going to give you a dual threat, has that speed to break out, can go into the slot successfully, and I don't think you'll have to break your bank to get him. So
that's true.
Look out for Chase Edmonds. If he don't go, Buffalo.
I do think, though, Jay, no shot, but the main reason you have to keep Edmonds is because as good as James is, there was never a knock about him fitting a system. It's about his health. So he's getting very lucky this year with health. And I hate to say that because I love James Conner. I love his story, beating cancer, all that. But I do think, and this is just me personally speaking, I could be wrong. When you go through leukemia and stuff like that, it just kills your one, it kills your antibodies. Two, it kills your health. So I think that's why we're seeing a lot of injuries from him is just because his body's still trying to recover from all that crazy shit. So it's definitely something I think you do need another back there just in case. So I would hold on to Edmonds.
Don't get me wrong. Let me be correct here.
I'm not saying.
I'm not in no way saying I would get rid of him.
Yeah,
I don't want to get rid of Edmonds. I want us to figure out a way to keep him. But with the way it's set up, we had AJ Green on a 1-year deal. We had James Conner on a 1-year deal. We had JJ Watt on a 1-year deal. We had Marcus Golden on a 1-year deal. So we have all these guys that we have to re-sign, and something has to break.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
Unfortunately, that's that position, and we do have a Benjamin sitting back there that we don't know if he's going to be as successful as Chase Heisman is, but the dynamics, he is very dynamic. He has those abilities to do those things that we want Chase Edmonds to do. So, unfortunately, he might be the odd man out.
Yeah, and that's the sad part about it. The thing about it is he's going to be the odd man out, not because he's trash, not because he's wrong,
none of that.
It's just the fact that
he got injured and James Conner handled his business.
He got injured. You know what I mean? Like, Because that's going to be the problem when they go to trade him. People are going to say, "Oh, well, what's wrong with Edmonds? Is he trash?" And it's like, no, it's not. It's just this is just how unfortunately it goes. When you lose that, when you lose your opportunity and someone else takes it.
Right.
This is usually what happens. Whether people like it or not, and that's something people kind of get upset about. But it's the game. Next thing I want to talk to you guys, the Heisman. They announced the finalists. No surprise, 3 quarterbacks. This is the one that low-key blew my mind. So it's Bryce Young, QB, Alabama, CJ Stroud, Ohio State quarterback, Kenny Pickett, QB for Pittsburgh, and Aiden Hutchinson, the edge rusher from Michigan, who that low-key blew my mind. I didn't think they were I didn't think they were gonna care, but yeah, I didn't think Hutchinson was gonna get that respect. Those are the 4 finalists. Jay, let me start with you. Who do you have winning the Heisman?
Well, before I go there, I'm going to give you a little bit of Aiden, why they put him in that conversation. He has 13 and a half sacks, and 8 of those came against the Big Ten heavyweights, the Ohio States, the Penn States, the Iowas, the Michigan States. So that means it came in big games. And them being in the college playoffs, that's a big deal for Michigan.
Right.
That's a huge deal.
Huge.
So, putting that on the front street and looking and breaking it down, he should be up there. He's leading the defense that
let me clarify. I'm not questioning why he's
I'm
there.
not saying you are.
Oh, okay, I just wanted to make sure because I'm just surprised that they actually cared about him. That's all I'm saying.
It's about time that Michigan puts that stamp on there. Harbaugh's been working for a long time. He's starting to reap the benefits finally. So this can change that page and help in recruiting as well. But as far as it's concerned, I mean, let's be honest, guys. I don't know if Alabama's going to get knocked off, and if they don't, Bryce Young looks like he's going to end up taking it. He's been talked about it all year, and I really haven't seen CJ. It doesn't really look good to me. He doesn't look like a Heisman to me. Kenny Pickett's okay. But Aiden, I like Aiden, but I don't think they'll give it to a DN, to an edge rusher.
All right. Mike, do you agree? Do you believe this is Bryce Young's Heisman Trophy to lose?
I do believe it is his to lose. My big thing that I'm going to say is, and Jay made a point, I did say I do think it belongs to CJ. Just because, and I hate to always bring it back to something Bears related, but it's just real talk, though. The second Justin Fields declared for the draft, I didn't expect Ohio State to be relevant for a very long time. I didn't really believe in CJ. The same way I'm a Clemson fan. The second Trevor left, I knew Uwe Ungalale, however the fuck you say his name, I knew it was dog shit. I knew this kid has 2 bricks for feet and 2 cinder blocks for hands. Like, this kid cannot move. This kid cannot throw the ball. And yes, I'll say that. Not just because he didn't want to come on as a guest on the ASAP network, but just because you're killing my Clemson team right now, dog. But, I do think it is Bryce's to lose. I think Bryce has all the momentum. I'd love to see it going to Michigan for a defensive player because, that does not happen often. It definitely does need to change. Should just call the Heisman a quarterback award at this point. But it's definitely a situation to me where if Ohio State wins out, I don't see how you don't give it to CJ because Ohio State should not have been in this situation. Now, Bama was going to run it back regardless at the end of the day. You good, Pride?
Yeah. Now, so let me ask you this, Mike. I want to ask you this.
But real quick, before you do that, let me get Trey in here because I know Trey might have something to say. So just hold that question for 1 second, Jay. Trey,
yes, sir.
For the Heisman Trophy, both Jay and Mike agree that it's Bryce Young
to lose.
Agree
to lose.
Yeah, to lose.
I think he's the favorite right now, but I think CJ could take it.
Right, so it's his to lose, and then Mike says that CJ Stroud is kind of behind him. Do you agree? Just in case, the 4 finalists is Kenny Pickett, QB for Pittsburgh, Bryce Young, Alabama, Stroud, Ohio State, and Aiden Hutchinson, the edge rusher from Michigan. Is it Bryce Young award to lose? Do you think someone else can get it? Who do you think is winning the Heisman?
So interestingly enough, I think it's Bryce Young to lose, even though CJ Stroud he's been heavy at the beginning of it where they was talking about he was he was, I ain't gonna say a dark horse, but slowly but surely he was creeping up. But after what Alabama went through, I think it's Bryce Young to lose. But when you take that in consideration, like we all know, it's usually an offensive award, right? Or offensive players are the nominees.
Right.
So, do you think there's any credence to be given to the simple fact that there's a defensive player that's in the finalists?
Oh, 100%. I said this. I'm surprised that they even gave him the respect to even make him a finalist. You know, and then Jay went on his whole thing saying, look, like, dude deserves it. He deserves it.
And think about who was the last, where was the last time a defensive player won the Heisman? Where was he from?
He played two hats. He had two hats. You know who it was? Mr. Woodson.
Mr. Woodson from Michigan.
Come on. Charles, bro. Yeah, and that's the thing. When we look at this, man, you got to be superb on the defensive end. You got to be almost like a Hall of Fame talent, caliber level player on the defensive end to really even be in these talks. You know, what him being in this Final Four and this, you know, top 5, whatever you want to break it down, it just shot him through the roof as far as his draft prospects.
Right.
But you know, that brings me back to my question I was going to ask you, Mike. You know, when you're looking and you're breaking down as far as quarterbacks in the Heisman finalists,
right?
Do you take their team's losses as big dents on them?
Yeah, in college, of course. In college, I think it's a very big deal. You know, in the NFL, I don't. I think there's a lot of guys who have MVP caliber type seasons who have shitty records, and that's just how it is. But you know, like it's definitely a conversation to where in college you're not always playing a Big Ten team. You know, so if you do have shitty losses, like it's bad, it looks bad. Now Sam Howell and Spencer Rattler are kind of those conversation pieces to think of. Okay, well maybe what if Spencer was at Alabama? What if Sam was at Alabama? What if they were both at Clemson? Like, what would it be any different right now of how we're looking at them? And it's one of those things where it's like UNC, no one's winning a Heisman coming out of UNC. That's just how it is. They're not, you know, going to be bigger than Clemson, not going to have the bigger primetime games. They're also going to say, based off of who you played, all determines into who's the better Heisman. Now, UNC is not traditionally going to play as many big teams as Alabama is, as all these other teams are, Georgia, or Ohio State, or Clemson. That's just not how it is. So it definitely does matter to me. I believe Chase Young was in the race. I mean, it was very heavily.
But because we're referring.
I don't think he is in the top 5 finalists.
Yeah.
Right. He was very heavily in the race from a defensive perspective, but as an actual candidate, I don't think they really took him seriously.
Yeah.
But it definitely is a situation where you look at it, where it does matter, and I hate to say that, but it really does, because you have to think about it. Alabama's ducking your shit by 50 by half. So if you're having bad losses and the starters are on that defense are still in by the fourth quarter, I have a problem with that. Unless you're playing an Alabama, unless you're playing a really big school, you really do have to take that into consideration as well, into giving this award, because, I mean, what is it, Pride? 2 losses and you're missing the fucking playoffs? Like, that shit matters. Like,
Dude, that's only nowadays. Before it was 1. Yeah.
So. I mean, and just by saying that, look, UTSA lost one time, got knocked out of the top 25.
Right.
And then there are people who don't even watch college football saying, "Oh yeah, they deserved it."
What?
Well, to get knocked out of the top 25. Yeah. They lost one time.
I mean, like to Mike, what Mike's saying is it's such a thin line in college. There's such a thin line,
and it's because there's so many teams too. You know what I mean?
You put that in perspective, yes, but also the power. Your strength of schedule really starts to come into play when you move down in conferences. Once you get out of them top 4 conferences, that's where strength of schedule hurts.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the top 4 conferences, you have that strength of schedule because it's inside, built within your conference.
No doubt.
And, so when you talk about a UTSA, you talk about a Cincinnati, you talk about an Eastern Carolina, you talk about a team like that, BYU.
You're balling out because you're playing dog shit.
Exactly. So One chance they got. Now, lately, last couple of years or so, we've seen, like we're looking at right now, Ohio State has 2 losses, and they were trying to scrape around and figure out a way in. Alabama has that loss, which typically doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So that's what we're looking at now is just, and I don't know if that's the new age of recruiting, availability, or what, but the conferences are getting a little bit more even. You have your Arkansas now stepping up. It's been years.
So do y'all think, saying that, do y'all think that is someone that shouldn't be there and someone should be there, i.e. Ritter or Walker, as opposed to
right? I mean, honestly, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. You could replace Kenny Pickett with anybody. And no disrespect to him, but I genuinely believe he is the long shot of long shots.
I believe so too.
If I have to rank it, I think it's Bryce Young 1, CJ Stroud 2, and I think Stroud is kind of close on Bryce. Then Aiden Hutchinson, and I'll be honest, the only reason Aiden's not going to win it is because he doesn't play offense. If we're going to be honest,
right? And
then Kenny Pickett. Like, to me, that's kind of how everything is really going. So you can replace anyone, but to be honest, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they're gonna give the award to either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. You know what I mean? Because that's who they're gonna give it to. So,
I ain't gonna say it don't matter. Ritter definitely should be in this conversation. Whether he wins it or not, of course, it's not. I don't think he would win it, but he should definitely be mentioned in this finalist group. I think, and again, this goes back to what we were just talking about with the UTSAs, the Cincinnatis, and things like that. They aren't going to get that step until they get the push from the background. And this is one of those areas where they should have got that push. Ritter should be in that conversation. I mean, he's done. What is his record overall? Has he lost like 2 games in his career?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, and he's consistent. He's consistent year in and year out. The dude needs he should be in the conversation.
Yeah, I definitely think that's something you talk about, but I also look at Stroud from what he's been doing. A lot of people say he's not He's not impressive enough. There's not those moments with Stroud. But let's talk about what Stroud is really doing. Pride and I talk about it all the time with Coach and Victor. Again, no shot at Victor, but it's just that narrative of you don't see it on the highlight reel because all they're going to show you is Bryce Young, and
thank you.
But when you look at Stroud, even in that loss against Michigan, he had 394 yards. He had a completion rate of 70%. He had 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He had a solid game. Then in MSU against Michigan State, he throws 432. And then against Purdue, 361. He threw 6 touchdowns against Michigan State. He threw 5 against Purdue. Nebraska, he had 405 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then PSU was his weakest game all season. He only had 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, and still had 305. So I look at it like that, and even though he doesn't have these moments, he's playing great ball. And whereas Bryce Young, I feel like Bryce Young is a walking highlight reel. I feel like he does a lot of flashy things, but there's also a lot of moments where I look at Bryce Young and I see this kid needs to develop a little bit more. He's still on his way, and if it wasn't for the guys around him being NFL-ready talent and Nick Saban, I think you're looking at a very different Bryce Young. Flip the script, put Bryce Young on Clemson, UNC, Oklahoma. I think this is a very different Bryce Young than what you're seeing right now. Still amazingly talented, but I feel like some of his bad decision-making gets made up for by great playmaking by his offensive weapons and great play calling. So I understand what you guys are saying about the CJ stuff and how CJ hasn't always looked perfect. But I think Bryce Young gets that ability to always look perfect because either Nick Saban has his back or his guys in his locker room with him have his back. So I think it's a give or take.
And don't get me
Jay, to answer your question, Ritter was 41-5.
Yeah,
41-5 over. And don't get me wrong, Mike. I'm not taking nothing from CJ itself, performance. But I do think those 2 losses take a hit on them.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. And especially Michigan's.
Yes. And to me, hold on, on the finalists, when you're talking about a Heisman, these guys figure out ways to win.
Right.
And that's, I think, where it kind of, when you quarterbacks especially, because that's
no doubt. CJ should be the captain. No question.
You know what I mean? So But when I do, and I'm gonna flip the script back to Ritter, and I wouldn't take CJ out of the finalist conversation.
Right.
But now when we go back to what Pride was saying about Pickett, we can pull him out.
Right.
We can pull him out and then slide Ritter in. But again,
I agree.
They're gonna give it to Bryce unless he shits the bed because of the situation. But I'm 1,000% in cahoots with you on this. It's an Alabama thing.
Right.
And that's a common thing as well, Mike. What you said, that was a great point. That I feel like every year when I look at an Alabama quarterback, I'm like, they need more polishing. They need this. They need that.
Even Mac didn't look great.
No, he looked like he had more holes. But again, he went from Nick Saban to who?
Bill Belichick, and they're best friends, so it perfectly fit. But that's not going to be the case for
everyone.
I was wondering this whole segment right here where y'all start talking about Mac and Belichick and all that type of stuff. I was looking at Pride to see what his reaction is going to be. I see your poker face, Pride. I see it.
I'm chilling.
Hey, but Pride,
shot at Mac, but let's be real here, just really quick. Najee Harris, and whether you like him or not, Alex Leatherwood was a star in Alabama. You have Devontae Adams, you have Henry Ruggs, you have Jalen Waddle, you had stars. You had Nick Saban as the best head coach in all of football. Mac Jones, respectfully, Pride, didn't need to be perfect. He didn't. And that's the difference now with Bryce Young is so many of those guys are gone, but they replaced them so quickly with other guys who are NFL ready.
Top-notch talents.
Right. So when you lose a Justin Fields and Chris Olave, I think Ohio State's really going to have a problem. Now you're just going to have CJ, but that's the biggest thing is who are you going to replace? Because who's really trying to go to Ohio State when Alabama's recruiting everybody? And no matter whether you're fifth string or first string, people want to say they're from Alabama. So that's the real way I look at it.
And I could clearly now add USC to that mix now. I'm so proud.
Guess looking right.
And then to Trey's point there, when you start adding our West Coast teams, you start adding a USC, you start adding a Oregon, you start adding a Washington.
We're talking about Najee Harris, California product, Bryce Young. He was committed to USC and then decommitted last year to go to Alabama. So these are those homegrown talents from California that are leaving the state to go play at the Alabamas, the Oklahomas, and across the country. Now we have an opportunity to keep them there.
And Dre, I 100% agree with you on this too. This is probably the weakest class we've seen in quite some time.
Right. And notice we haven't mentioned one wide receiver. Like this is going to be now I might bite my words.
Matter of fact, go ahead, Mike. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not going to bite my words and be like there might not be a Justin Jefferson out there somewhere, who impresses a lot of people and comes into the NFL and falls out. But there hasn't been one real wide receiver that I said, wow, this team could use him next year. It's just other than Chris Olave and a couple other guys, it's not that impressive. Like let's just be real. We've been gifted what we've had the last couple of years. Jalen Waddle, DeVonta Smith, DK, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase I don't know how Jamar Chase was the last guy I fucking mentioned, but it's definitely something.
It happens when you have a list like that.
Right, Darnell Mooney in the 6th round. Like you're talking about, God bless him, and I hope everything is well. But Henry.
Oh, you know what? What's his name? Drake London from USC.
Exactly.
I mean,
but there's like one in far. But look,
it's slim pickings.
When I think what you're getting at, Mike, Madden's not handing out any spectacular catch icons for any of these wide receivers. None of these guys.
Normal development for everybody.
They're still good.
No, they're solid. They're solid, but they are not the generational talents that we've been seeing the last couple years.
No.
Especially look at this QB class. This QB class is the weakest it's been in years.
Now, this might be a
I can ever remember. And I'm saying if you're a team, quarterback, the only way you should draft a quarterback is if you already have one in place and you have that whole rookie contract.
Like, I'm fine if Detroit drafts a quarterback in the second round.
The second round. No, I'm not. If I'm Detroit, I do not touch a quarterback.
Because in the second round, I touch one.
Because there's plenty of other holes they need to fill.
Right.
Perfect.
And that's why you can do it in the second, because no one's going to take one in the first. That's just me.
I disagree. I'll be honest with you.
But you're talking about one of the worst franchises. You're talking about one of the worst franchises with one of the worst rosters in the NFL. When you get an opportunity to add in a quarterback that, you know, to try to build something like that, and especially in a round where you typically wouldn't use it for a quarterback, I go with that. Especially Detroit, Detroit's
so
bad.
I know we are. I know we've already been through the NFL segment, but are y'all saying that that Goff can't hold the ship
Trey,
down?
here's what I'm saying, and Trey, I
think he can because it's not like they're going to the Super Bowl next year. It's not like they're a quarterback away.
Trey, let me ask you this. Here's how I talked about it, and we talked about it on Touchdown Crew. Pride was there for a little bit. He wasn't there, but he was watching it, and we were talking about it. My thing is this, and I think it works perfectly. And maybe I'm a Madden GM and I don't understand the financials, but I think it works. You trade Jared Goff for a first-round pick to Washington. That pick is probably somewhere from 17 to 20, and you're still going to get a top talent at the quarterback position. You can use that number 1 overall pick at whatever position you want, whether it be your boy out of Michigan, whether it be a wide receiver, whether it be an offensive lineman, or whatever you want. But that 17th to 20th overall pick, you can get the best quarterback out of the class because no one else in the top 10 is going to take him. You can still that. And then you get all the Jared Goff money off the books. You can bring in whoever you want. You can throw money at Devontae Adams. You can throw money at all these other individuals that are going to be free agents because this free agency class is stacked. And I think Dan Campbell is one hell of a good coach. And I think people want to play with Dan Campbell. That's my biggest thing right now is I think you could potentially go big in free agency because you don't have a lot of guys on the books. You get Jared off. You get a quarterback mid-first. You do well in the second. You do well in the third. You get your fucking whoever the fucking is the number 1 overall pick. And I think you're in a good position to be 4th in the division, but to be a lot better.
I don't think
so.
So I hear that. So I hear that, but I hear that, but I raise you this.
Right.
Mike, say you were a middle to top tier wide receiver, running back, or whatever like that, skill position in the NFL. What can get you to Detroit?
Thank you.
What can get me to? I knew fucking Victor was gonna come in out of
the only way these guys go in Detroit is if they get traded there.
So I understand.
I hear what he's saying.
I understand what you're saying, Mike, but I don't think that works for Washington because Washington, I think with Heineke there, it'd be dumb for them to make that trade for a first rounder to go after Goff. Because look, this is what I'll say to answer your question, Trey. Goff, I don't say he can't do it. I just said he hasn't shown me yet that he's going to stay on the field. He's going to consistently progress throughout the season.
Right.
He's going to go on an upward trend instead of a downward trend with the season. Right. You know, those are the type of things when I look at Goff and I look at a franchise quarterback that I don't see from him. Right. Those are the things that scare me. Now
here's the thing, though, Jay, and I want to ask you before you go, just to tie into it so you can tie it all together. I think you view that early on the same way you view Cam Newton into that regard of we need to find out Cam Newton's niche. We need to once Ron Rivera realized, fuck this, he's going to run the ball. You ran the ball. And that was it, point blank, period. Now, what applies with Jared, I feel like personally is Jared, as we know, can take you to a Super Bowl. He's not going to be that focal point of that offense. The problem was Todd Gurley got banged up in the Super Bowl, and Todd Gurley got banged up way before. If you can be two-dimensional, I think you can win with Jared. If you're one-dimensional like the Lions are because of Swift not always being healthy, I think you have that same problem that you have with LA. And that's why I never really got why they wanted Jared in the first place.
Well, when I look at Jared, I think of it like this. You don't invest into Jared, you invest around Jared.
Right, and you have Terry McLaurin, though. You have a great tight end. You have Gibson.
But he's not a guy that I'm going to bring in as my franchise guy. I'm not trading for him.
Right.
If it comes around, he comes a free agent, and I can sign him and I break the bank, I pick him up. But I look at him like I look at Kirk Cousins. I'm not getting anything. I'm getting a quarterback that's going to be there. He's gonna when he's on the field, he's not gonna be the worst quarterback in the league, but he's definitely not gonna be the best quarterback in the league.
Right.
That's what I look at when I look at Jared Goff. He has a little bit more elements to him where he can kind of get out the pocket, he can scramble and make a run and make a play that breaking down into a little bit something. But he's nothing that I'm gonna put my franchise on.
Right.
Now,
I can hear that.
You know what I mean? And
this class in terms of quarterback
is bad.
Is extremely weak. When obviously Bryce Young.
We got some weak quarterbacks in the league too, y'all. I see there's a couple quarterbacks in here that can transfer, but there's some backups that are sitting back here
that are still able to play
that need to play some football. Like
That's
Marcus
why I'm
Mariota, I think can do something for a team or two.
Oh, right.
Still.
And I think,
that's what I'm
honestly,
saying,
I said
like,
it from the
if you-
jump. If
Right,
Mitchell
but-
Trubisky goes to Denver, I think he balls out.
Maybe. I feel like with Mitchell Trubisky, you just need to give him a good run game.
Right.
You know,
You give
put him
him
in the-
Gordon, you give him Williams, you give him
I feel like he'll be
Sutton,
all right.
Judy, all those other guys.
Right, but my thing is when it comes to, like, you know, if I'm Detroit, I'm keeping Jared Goff. I'm not touching the quarterback this draft at all. I don't
I'm
care.
getting a backup.
Nope. Nope. If you're gonna get a backup, go pick, because none of these dudes are ready. And if you draft a guy, you're only gonna have him back. You're only gonna have him on that bench for like what, a year before. You know what I mean? So it's like
Now, Pride,
I
for
said,
you,
the
though,
only. Go ahead.
just
Go
to
ahead.
ask you, are you, if you're Detroit, are you tanking out again for Bryce Young?
I'm not touching him.
Going in the next year, you're not going to get Bryce. If you have the
No.
number one
If
overall
we're
pick-
talking about
That's my
next
point,
year,
Mike. Thank you.
If you make it, if you're talking about next year,
yeah, like next
need to
year,
see
would
the
you
improvements he
tank
makes.
again
I
for
need
Bryce
to
Ball?
say I need to see the improvements he made, because, like you said, there's some times where his athleticism and the athleticism of others around him is what bails him out.
Right.
Do
But-
you have
but-
someone like that on Detroit? No. So I want to see him at college take that extra step, and while he's doing that, guess what I'm doing? I'm still gonna be a loser franchise. I'm probably still gonna get a top pick next year anyway. So if he doesn't come out, it's fine. It doesn't phase me.
So,
I still will
hypothetically-
be able to get him next year, and the pick I would have used him this year, instead of having him just waste a spot and just stand on the bench, I can get somebody to boost up my defense, to boost up my offensive line, to do something. So that way, when I get him next year, I know he's ready, so I can immediately put him in. So that way, instead of having Golf there, I can just trade him or do whatever I want.
Right.
I could bring him in, and I can immediately start him, be like, all right, kid, you know, now you just got to get experience. Do this. It is what it is. And now we have something better.
Right. But
Like,
the thing
I'm not
me
going to
Jay
sit here
were
and
talking
draft a
about-
kid. I'm not going to draft a kid, especially when I'm an organization that desperately needs a quarterback.
Right.
I'm not going to do that, then sit him for a year or two.
My thing is this though: why
don't think that makes
keep
sense.
Goff? Why keep Goff then? You don't even have to. Let's say it like
Mm-hmm.
this. Let's say it's not Washington. Let's say it's some other team. First round pick. It's probably from 20 to 30, wherever it may be. Minnesota, whoever the fuck wants Goff. Who cares? Let's say you get a first round pick. Fine. Don't take a quarterback. Why can't Bloff or a Mitchell Trubisky on a 1 year, or Marcus Mariota or Cam Newton or Ryan Fitzpatrick or whoever just be that guy, that bridge guy? You can take two first.
That's
round
fine.
picks.
No, that's fine.
Right.
I'm talking about.
I'm saying Goff
between-
does not need to be in this equation.
Right. No, I'm
But
with you. I'm just saying,
but see,
if
now-
you had to make me pick between Nick, I was about to say Nick Foles, Jared
You
Goff,
have him
and
too.
any of these quarterbacks in the draft,
You have
I'm
him
taking
too.
Jared Goff.
No,
but if
but
you
see-
want to go out and trade him and get someone else to kind of hold the ship for a year, I'm not mad at that either.
Right.
And I'm going a different route. Look, I'm going a different route because Detroit, I'll take the same page when I look over at Jacksonville, and I'll take the same page when I look over at the Jets. Detroit is what I looked at this year when those two went up and drafted their quarterbacks. Detroit is bad, you guys. They're horrible. They're horrible. So if let's say Bryce is available in the second round.
Why don't you?
Let's just hypothetically speaking, he's available in the second round. You still have Golf. You can't trade him. You take him. You sit him for 2 years.
Right.
You let him practice. You let him train. You let him get bigger. You let him get stronger. And you let him see the field.
Right.
You know, and then that year 3, you put him on the field, and you got an actual quarterback that's ready to play.
See, Jay, I thought you were going somewhere else with it. I thought you were going at it from this perspective, and it's kind of where I was thinking you were going, was what is the difference? And this is a stupid question, but it's a real question. And Trey, I'm happy you're here for it. The question is, what is the difference between taking Bryce Young and a quarterback in this class? Now, Pride, hear me out. There is no difference because at the end of the day, you're going to Detroit. So I'd rather take a guy in the second round this year and have him sit behind Golf for a
And I'm
couple
gonna tell you why.
We're
I'm
on
gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you why that's a stupid idea. I'm gonna tell you why that's stupid.
Go ahead.
Because you have other holes you need to fill that this draft class is perfect for.
Right.
That
Like
is
what?
why. If
Like what?
Detroit
What exactly?
was really a quarterback away, I would say, you know what, it's fine for you to reach. If they were just a quarterback away and you wanted to reach, all right,
Right.
fine. But the fact that they're not just a quarterback away, they have other holes they need to fill, offensive and defensive. Why would you reach for a quarterback in
We're not
a
talking about
draft
reaching here.
that's pretty good everywhere else?
I'll tell you right now,
I'm
though.
not gonna reach.
Right,
That's
and I'll
just
tell
me.
you right
I'm
now,
not
though,
gonna-
the big
if y'all
thing
want
to
to,
me-
that's fine. Me personally, if I'm running Detroit, I'm not getting a
Right.
quarterback this year.
The
I'm
big
trying
thing
to
to
build
me,
up
though-
everywhere else and see what I get next year, or even in free agency.
Right, but you got to think about it about free agency next year. Hawkinson is a free agent next year, and you won't be able to franchise tag him because they franchise tagging him this
He's
year.
probably gone.
So right, but if you have a plan instilled already, you have something there. If you're gonna look Hawkinson straight in the face and be like, "Yo, we're gonna pray to God that we get Bryce Young and that he balls out." If I'm Hawkinson, I tell you to get fucked because I'm on the wrong age of 20 and I'm on my way out and I want to go ball out somewhere else. So if you already have that quarterback in place who's already been mentored by Goff, Campbell, and understands the system, it's a lot better than Hawkinson reaching by signing an extension with them and
Right.
balling out with Bryce Young. It's
And-
a lot better.
And to both of our points, Mike, and I agree with what you said last, because that is kind of where I was going with it. If you, Anthony, this is right, feeding right into what we're talking about. If you trade back, let's say, because to me, in the top 15, they don't have a guy that's going to change their team. They have a guy that's going to add to it.
They could
trade back, add maybe another second or third round pick. Now, drafting Bryce, sitting him for 2 years makes more sense. You're not, and listen, the other thing is, Pride, if they're one quarterback away, there ain't 9 quarterback in this draft that I'm taking to fill that spot if I'm just a quarterback away. So let's be real. This draft is not, I'm one quarterback away, I'm drafting somebody. This draft is, if I'm one quarterback away, I'm going to free agency or I'm using my first round pick to trade for a proven quarterback.
Right.
So we're kind of opposite on that side. Detroit's main focus here is to add to the Lego blocks so they can build more later. So you take a quarterback in the second or third round that you think possibly is solid. You don't have to pay him that first rounder money, and you can sit him for a couple years and see what you get from him. And if you don't get anything from him, it's not a big deal. It's not a huge loss.
I think the perfect example is we talk about, you have so many other holes, but it's the same thing with Philly when you still have Carson Wentz still going after Jalen Hurts, when, the Green Bay Packers still get Jordan Love. You have a lot of guys. Justin Herbert, no one really expected Phillip Rivers to be like, all right, I'm out of here. Peace out, A-Town. But it was definitely something where, you didn't know, like, is Phillip Rivers going to return? So they fill that hole just in case. You look at the Colts. Okay, we traded for Carson Wentz. Dude, they still took 2 rookie quarterbacks on that roster. Like, they still have 2 rookie quarterbacks on that roster. They don't give a fuck. Ellinger and whatever the other one's name is. But it's definitely something where it's just a situation, Pride, where I feel like you're better off doing it now than hoping you can do it the following year.
Meanwhile, there's 101 other positions they could fill. But let's go ahead and draft somebody, sit him, and then waste the pick when you could have done it to literally hype to boost up every other position that you're struggling in.
You're Detroit. You don't got to. It ain't gonna make a difference.
But
dog shit's dog shit. You said it earlier. It still smells like shit.
I know. Don't get it twisted. Yes, I know.
At least now,
now
with this, you have that idea of, okay, now we have something to move forward with, and you
don't, because you're sitting him.
Right,
you're sitting him.
Jordan Love.
That's ridiculous. You're sitting him for 2 years. How are you going to sit there and say, "Yep, we got something"? And you guys brought up Jordan Love. The Packers did the same thing with Jordan Love. We got something. Now look where they're at. Now look where they were so confident in Jordan Love, they begged Aaron Rodgers to stay.
Right,
literally, and they literally destroyed the whole contract and literally did everything they could, and they gave Aaron Rodgers everything.
Right, but look at Philly. It worked for Philly. It worked for LA. It worked for a bunch of teams.
Because when they got those guys, no one said getting Jalen Hurts is dumb. No one said that. They said if you got Jalen Hurts, you got to trade Carson Wentz. Right. Drafting Jalen Hurts wasn't the problem. It was why draft him and keep Carson Wentz.
Right.
That was the thing. And with the Chargers, when they got Justin Herbert, everyone was like, well, they needed a quarterback.
And that was my point, though, to you was if you're trading Jared, that's perfectly fine. If you're keeping Jared, I have a problem with it. I don't get it.
I don't even think that's fine either. I don't think it's fine because at the end of the day, there's things on the college level he does that's not good, and he can change at the college level.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. have him stay. I'm drafting on my offensive
I'm with you
line.
on it. I'm with you on it. I
Defensive
just
line.
don't think outside. That's why I said perfectly. If it's the second or third round, it is what it is. Because there's not a lot of at least from my perspective, looking at it from the outside looking in. I'm gonna have to dive in more as the draft continues to get closer.
I mean, the only generational talent that I legitimately see in this draft is homeboy from Oregon.
Thibodeau.
Yeah, Thibodeau. Yeah, him.
Right.
Because him and Aiden Hutchinson, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe they're both edge rushers.
Mm.
So for me,
and that's my point though. The first pick overall, if it's a quarterback, you're a fucking idiot. That's why I'm saying if it's third or fourth round, that's perfect. That's perfectly fine. Like it is what it is if they're available. But don't go out and reach for it. You know what I mean?
To me, like I said, I think the only teams this year that should draft a quarterback is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of the world or the Rams of the world. A team where we already have somebody, so we're willing to sit you down and we'll work with you your entire rookie contract.
Yeah, no doubt. But I think my main point, and it's the last point because I don't even know how we started this, but it was mainly you don't want to be in a position, and Trey, you may agree or disagree, where Washington's in because they get Chase Young, they get all Terry McLaurin, you get all these guys. Now you can't get a top 3 quarterback because you're always in the middle. You're always a 500 team or somewhere close to that. You can't afford to be a top 3 pick because you win enough games. You're in a division where you win enough games to where, okay, maybe we can do this. You look at the division the Lions are in, the Bears are dog shit. They're probably cleaning house. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are gone. Zimmer is still dog shit. Cousins is dog shit. And the Lions just beat them. The Lions probably aren't that far off for potentially being, top 2 in the division at some point because at least they've been constructing something. So you don't want to be Washington that's in a point where we'll settle for Heineke because we can't afford to be a top 5 pick. That's where I don't want you to fold and be like, okay, we fucked up. Now we can't trade up to get it because we don't want to trade anybody. I don't want to reach for anybody. You don't want to do that. And you just roll out with Heineke. And that's why they don't win the division.
But I mean,
I hear what you're saying, but you don't want to be in that
agree with
spot.
me. No, but maybe you agree with me, Trey. I don't think them rolling with Taylor Heineke is all that bad.
No, it's not. It's not.
You know what I mean?
So
Detroit,
right now it's not, but I don't
down the line.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know. Right now what we don't know is we don't know what Heineke is going to provide because you got to think Heineke has been passed over twice on the team. He's been there. He was passed over, then he got elevated. Then he got passed over again. He got downgraded and passed over again. The only reason, for the most part, that Heineke is playing right now is because Fitzpatrick got injured at the beginning of the year, and now he's proven. So now it's like, okay, that personnel, the team personnel at the point, they obviously they didn't see what Heineke is showing right now. Right. So who's to say that? When and hell, Rivera. Honestly, when you look at it, so who's to say that come next year who's to say that Rivera is going to finally be like, hey, Heineke's our person, or he might see someone else that's out there free agent wise, or they might see someone that's in the draft. They feel like, okay, Heineke can hold us there, but I don't know how far he can get us and not take him. So that's what I think is what Mike is getting at. Like Heineke's good for right now,
right?
But it's so much, you know what I'm saying?
But as Jalen Hurts continues to get better, you got Dak getting healthier. You got a bunch of guys. Daniel Jones, I hate Freddie right now, but I'll say it respectfully. Daniel Jones is kind of coming into his own in some way, shape, or form. You have to look at it from that account and say, now, all those guys right now, you could say is the franchise quarterback of that respected team. Can you say the same about Taylor? I don't think so. I love Taylor. I'm Taylor.
I put Taylor Heineke a little bit in the same position as Tua Tagovailoa, where that's no matter what he does, they're never going to be the franchise. They're never going to be the franchise quarterback because it's almost as if the organization doesn't want them to be.
Exactly.
It's this weird thing. But Mike, someone asked this, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think any teams should draft a quarterback in the first round? And I'm not talking about do you think a team will reach or anything like that. Like, do you think anybody should draft a quarterback in the first round? For a little bit of context, I'll tell you the top 10 picks, and then we'll go from there. Number 1 is projected to be Detroit. And by the way, all this stuff is just projections.
It's probably
Detroit,
very close though.
yeah, Detroit, the Jaguars, Texans, the Jets at 4, then the Jets at 5 from a pick they got from Seattle. Then the Giants at 6, and that's a pick they got from Chicago.
It's fine.
Then the Giants again at 7. Atlanta at 8. Panthers at 9. And then the Minnesota Vikings at 10. Do you want me to list off any more? Or
the only one on that list I would say is Minnesota. I think Minnesota. I don't believe in Keelan Mond from a passing perspective. I think Keelan Mond is more of a Marcus Mariota type guy. I may be wrong. I may eat those words in the future, but I think Minnesota, like I said earlier, was a Justin Fields away from potentially being a serious contender in 2022, 2023, especially with Aaron being gone, the Bears being fired, the Lions being fired. It's definitely a situation where I feel like Kirk holds them back. My problem is I need to know what happens with Zimmer. So I could perfectly see that, Minnesota takes a quarterback at number 10 overall. That's perfectly fine. I think their defense is better. I think their offensive line's getting better. Unfortunately, I would like them to take an offensive lineman, but I don't think there will be any great ones available past top 5 because we got some dogs. We got some dogs in this. So I think obviously the Jags, obviously the Jets, the Giants, they all need to address offensive line. So that's 3 guys there. And fuck it. At this point, Pride, we can be real about it. The Giants might take back-to-back offensive linemen. Like, that just might be how it is. It might
projected. So I'm gonna tell you the top 10 projected picks. Thibodeau, Kayvon Thibodeau, the defensive end. He's projected based on this is what I'm seeing. I saw another one where they had Aiden Hutchinson going one.
That's a conversation,
right? But for this one, I'm looking at Thibodeau at 1. Evan O'Neal from Alabama, the offensive lineman, he's at 2. Aiden Hutchinson at 3, going to Detroit. The cornerback from LSU, Derek Stingley Jr., he's going to the Jets. And then defensive end, George Karlaftis. I know
I'm with you, bro.
Name. From Purdue, he's a defensive end. And then the Giants are projected to get from North Carolina State offensive tackle Iquanu, which they need. And instead of doubling down, they're projected at 7 to get Kyle Hamilton, who's the safety for Notre Dame.
Oh,
right.
Oh,
the first
nice.
Quarterback in this.
He's nice, but they don't need that.
They don't need him. I like Kyle Hamilton.
I like him a lot, but
Hamilton. I like him, but I'm with Mike. I do think they should draft back to back.
If you don't have a corner, you don't have a safety. That's just being real.
Right, and I like James Bradbury and all, but I don't. He looks
like the same. Look at Eddie. Not to cut you off, but look at Eddie Jackson of the Bears. 7 interceptions. 7 interceptions his first year with Kyle Fuller and Bryce Callahan. Now he looks like a liability. The reason, as someone who played safety, you look like a liability is because when you don't have corners around you, you're third corner.
You messed up, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now. If you don't have that safety, you bite on one little move, you're fucked. Because then they got wide open range.
When you don't have any corners, I can't play safety because I have to double down and play corner the entire time.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Yep. So, and then at another mock draft, I'm looking at, I just want to throw this out there. The first quarterback off the board in this one is Kenny Pickett going 3rd to Houston.
See, I wouldn't do it if I'm Houston because you need to figure out if you can get Tua or if you can get someone already established from Deshaun Watson's trade. You need to figure out what you're getting with that because you can't reach that early on for a weak quarterback class. Now, Minnesota, I feel like, has enough pieces, whether it be dwarfs or whoever on the offensive line is perfectly fine. Their defense is looking better. I feel like you have JJ, you have Thielen, Cook, Madison, all those guys. Really, it's not that much of a reach. To me, maybe you can get a 4th or a 5th for Kirk and rock out like that, but it is what it is. To me, though, Texas picking a quarterback when they have 4 quarterbacks in that room already and one doesn't want to be there, like I would have to find out what you're getting for Deshaun to take a top 3 pick.
And like I said, to me personally, the way I look at it is, and I've said this before, so this is not just me, saying that if anyone takes a quarterback in the first draft, you should get fired. I'm sorry, in the first round, you should get fired.
I don't see why. I don't.
I don't.
unless it's like 25-32, like you said earlier, like if it was Tampa taking Kyle Trask,
Yeah,
I'm fine.
that's
You
it.
brought
And
back
again,
everybody.
right. And again, the only reason I'm saying those are good is because you already have a quarterback, so you can wait.
Right.
You can literally wait. You know what I mean? You know, if you got picks to blow, you know, whatever. But again, my whole thing with it, I'm not gonna, especially if I'm a team, I'm not gonna draft a young kid and then bench him.
Yeah, no shot.
I don't know.
That's
don't
why I
agree
said
with that.
if the Lions are to do it, second or third, it is what it is. But like you have some good talent in that first round, I just wouldn't do it.
Right. And again, I believe that that Jared Goff, and again, if you don't want Jared Goff there, you want him to go elsewhere and get like a Ryan Fitzpatrick
I
or something.
fucking hate Jared Goff.
You hate Derek Carr?
No, Jared Goff.
Oh, free Jared Goff. He's not that bad.
Nah, I just fucking hate him.
Yeah, but again, for me, the way I look at it, Trey. I mean, do you see where I'm coming from? Do you think I'm bugging when I'm saying that like no quarterback should be
So
taken?
I think
like
the only team that needs to draft in the first round or needs to draft a quarterback as soon as they see the value is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm with
I
that.
wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even do that.
But you still, Trey, were you on the show the one day we were talking about Aaron Rodgers potentially going there?
Not only that,
No.
not only that.
There's a lot of question marks with free agency. Jimmy Garoppolo, a lot of guys.
Yeah, well, true enough. Like,
So
I've
that's
heard
kind
that,
of,
but right,
you know what I mean?
just right off. But even then, like, well, Jimmy Garoppolo or Aaron Rodgers, those are just stopgaps, in my opinion.
Right.
Like
No,
Jimmy
no
Garoppolo, Jimmy Garoppolo is, I think, he's going to end up becoming what we potentially see for Jared Goff or somebody like that, where you're good enough to hold the top position,
Right.
but we're looking at you more as a high paid backup. Like I can see Jimmy going to New Orleans and him and Jameson, Jameis going at it, and one of them is going to become a high paid backup. The other one is going to be the starter, and the other one's going to get some chance at some point. So that's what I see Jimmy. Aaron, we all know, he, as great as he may be, he's on the back leg. He's like Joe Montana, basically, at this point, where we're waiting to put him at a team, or like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. That's the role in which Aaron Rodgers is going to fall into. If he embraces it, then it's going to give him longevity. If he goes kicking and screaming, and with our mindset of I'm Aaron Rodgers, just double checking everybody, he's going to be a problem. So that's the only thing in which I look at why we're talking about, like, for Big Ben, or basically those people put it in a Big Ben situation. So that's why I look at it now. Is probably the time for them to start looking at the predecessor. Although they do have Jordan Love, and maybe they might want to kick the tires on him and actually give him a chance. So I can agree with what you're saying then, Pride. When I forgot Jordan Love was there, just drafted 2 years ago. So
Dog shit.
Yeah, and that's like one of like the main things I use. It's like, like don't reach, because I'm telling you, look, you can reach for a wide receiver and be okay. You can reach for a offensive. The one of the few positions you cannot reach is quarterback, because that can set you back a long ways. And yeah, bro, that's why I'm saying, yo, don't do it. Don't do it. I've been telling people, and again, there's people like, oh yeah, just draft him and sit him. What's the point? What are you learning from that? What are you learning from that?
Right. And I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly, because I also was the guy, I was the only kid in the world high on Christian McCaffrey. Myself being a white running back, I just loved the kid. But it's very rare. It's very rare. Let me have my moment. But I personally thought the Bears, in my personal opinion, fuck Mike Glennon. I wanted Jimmy Garoppolo and to draft Christian McCaffrey. And I felt like the Bears in 2018 with that defense, with Allen Robinson, Jimmy Garoppolo, Christian McCaffrey, all these other boys, Taylor Gabriel.
Would have been something.
At that time, who Matt Nagy was, that's a position. Now, that's a position where you're in there to win now. So I see where Pride's coming from to. It's like, if you reach for a Mitchell Trubisky, number 2 overall, you should get fucking fired. Like, that's point blank period. Especially if you already have a quarterback in Mike Glennon who is already established. Now, if the Jets take a fucking quarterback, burn the entire franchise.
Right.
You reached on Zach Wilson. You didn't take Trey Lance. You didn't take Mac Jones. You didn't take Justin Fields. You didn't take.
And that's my point. I'm be honest with you. This draft class
is all Zach Wilson.
It's Zach Wilson and maybe a couple Trey Lances.
Maybe.
Where it's like, yeah, you can draft him. He's nowhere near ready. And if you start him, all you're going to do is demoralize the kid because he's going to fail.
I would say I'm not even going to give him Trey Lance. I say these are Keelan Mons and maybe one Zach Wilson.
And I wouldn't be mad at you at that.
Because at least Trey has moments, at least.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Every single one of these. And what about Seattle drafting a quarterback?
Fuck no.
I would not touch it. I would not touch it.
I think it comes back to what y'all was basically saying. Like it's a lot of dominoes to fall. Like it's some quarterbacks that's going to probably change seats,
right,
or that's going to change venues, or and which is going to determine the draft class. But which goes back to saying, if you move the free agency period before the draft, then that's better. That helps. Yeah, that's a different conversation because it helps. So yeah, you can draft. He can go ahead and, like they said, go out and draft whoever. And next thing you know, Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or any of these come open. It's like, shit. Like, what am I going to do now? It's like, I just drafted this quarterback. If I would have, and our GM just went out and got us Russ, what are we going to do now? Like, we're going to shelf him? Like, you know what I'm saying? I could have got value somewhere else. So. Yeah. That'll help, but I mean, until that happens, I guess it's going to continue to be that's how it's going to be.
Yeah. And again, the way I look at it is there's nobody in this draft class that, frankly, if let's say I'm a GM, I see no upside, I see no reason, I see no true purpose,
right.
I see no explanation. If I'm a GM, I don't see anything I can explain to the team if I draft one of these quarterbacks.
Here's my thing.
Who's eligible right now? Who's eligible right now as a quarterback? So when you're looking at that's just eligible. Outright,
I'll pull up their eligibility. However, I know
some guys are on the fence.
Kenny Pickett is eligible.
Right. Kenny Pickett is eligible. Matt Carroll is eligible.
Sam Howell is eligible.
I
think Spencer is.
Carson Strong.
Okay. So Jaden Daniels, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral from Mississippi, Malik Willis from Liberty.
Malik Willis, yeah.
Let me see who else I'm looking at.
Bailey Zappe.
On a technicality, Spencer Rattler on a technicality.
Yeah, he is too, but
I don't think so. He just did the whole thing about going to the transfer portal. Yeah, so I don't think so. Jake Haener from Fresno State, Tanner McPhee from Stanford, Carson Strong from Nevada, Jaden Daniels, Arizona State,
Desmond Ridder.
Yep, and then obviously we said Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral, Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis. I believe those are it.
Now, Trey, though, when I look at it for Seattle specifically, though, you think about it like this: you trade Russ. You're trading Russ regardless because we all know what it is. We all know what Russ wants. You trade him to Miami. You're getting Miami's first, and you're getting Tua. No,
I was about to say you're getting Tua.
Do you? Yeah, you might. Well, do you think you're getting Tua?
100%.
What do you think Russ? What do you think Russ's at this point? What's Russ's value?
Here's what I want to ask you. Here's what I want to ask you. They offered 3 first-round picks and Tua. That was reported for Deshaun Watson, who potentially might go to jail. So you don't think they're going to get that for Russell Wilson? I think you're crazy. I think
I'll be honest.
Not only do you address a young quarterback, but those 3 first-round picks you'd have from Seattle, because I believe they have one extra. It's later in the round for some trade they did. But it's definitely something where you can address the run game in the second round. You can get offensive linemen in the first. You still have DK. You still have Lockett. You have a lot more guys. You can address all of that and still get Tua for nothing.
And I will say this, and by the way, I didn't mean first round. Wilson might be gone, so who's their backup? Nobody good. Their backup is Geno Smith. But
first of all, respect him, Geno Smith.
Look, I ain't gonna say he's great, but at the same
Respect
time,
him.
but at the same time, and I will say this, Geno Smith, without a shadow of a doubt, is
Serviceable.
better than every single rookie you have in this draft.
Maybe there's one guy.
I'm gonna say that one more time, just so that way no one thinks I'm joking or anything. Geno Smith is hands down light years way better than any rookie quarterback coming out in the draft. I'm gonna say it one last time. These rookie quarterbacks look like Jamarcus Russell, and this guy looks like goddamn Peyton Manning. The comparison isn't even close. So if you're gonna sit there and tell me you think Bryce Young is gonna come into the NFL and pew pew,
Bryce Young, I think, is better than Geno Smith.
smoking,
Smoking.
And
you know
he's
what?
one
What
of the
I
best
just think about
quarterbacks in college football.
when
This
you were saying
class,
that,
I agree with you.
what you were saying that, what I think, I honestly think, Desmond Ritter's about to shock the world.
Yeah, there's always one. There's always one, Pride, that
I
shocks
think
you.
Desmond Ritter's about to shock the world. I
Yeah,
think
he gonna shock the world with how bad he is. Shit. Look, man, man, I'm telling you, I understand there's always one,
There's always one or two.
but I really don't see it. I really don't see it. There's nothing.
Right.
Every
That's
time
fine,
I've
though,
seen these
but
kids
I'll tell you
play-
what.
Go
Ain't
ahead, Mike.
nobody saw Patrick Mahomes throwing 50 tutties as Super Bowl champion or MVP in the first 2 years.
That's
No,
what
they
you say
didn't.
that, Mike, because I was about to say, I'm very sure no one's seen.
Yeah, they did.
No
Yes,
one's
they
seen
did.
Jackson coming. I don't think.
Deshaun, what are you talking about, Deshaun?
No,
No,
Lamar.
not Deshaun.
Lamar Jackson?
Yeah,
they
no one's
did.
seen Lamar
He
coming.
went
You think so?
31.
No, but no, they when they people were saying he should have started when they were sitting him.
People were saying he's a running back.
People are still calling him running back.
Yeah, I was about to say, they saying he shouldn't even be throwing the ball before
Right.
Well,
he
because he can't throw. He can't throw.
But he
He
can't.
can't throw. But he can't.
But he can't.
Bro,
It's just
This
not consistent
dude-
yet.
bro, he in terms of pressure percentage, he's one of the lowest in terms of pressure percentages, and he still can't hit dudes.
I don't know, bro.
Are you shitting me?
I'm just
Would
saying.
you rather have?
31?
Would you rather have Lamar Jackson or Kirk Cousins?
Lamar?
I need to see my team around me. I need to see my team around me.
Lamar.
I need to see my team.
An
I need to see my team.
MVP.
Because I'm gonna tell you this right now. I don't care if he won MVP. I'm talking about as a quarterback. He ran MVP as a running back. And if you don't agree with me, go pull up those stats.
Can Kirk Cousins throw the ball?
Huh?
Can Kirk Cousins throw effectively?
Phenomenally better than Lamar Jackson. It's not even a fair comparison.
Oh, bro.
Well, okay,
Phenomenally
let me make it a little more of a comparison. Lamar or Jalen?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts?
I'm
Yeah.
taking Hurts. But the only reason I'm taking Hurts is I'm losing some of the athleticism with Jalen Hurts. I'm losing it, but I genuinely believe Jalen Hurts throws the ball. He throws the ball better than Lamar.
I'll say that as of right now, I'm taking Lamar. I feel it's because one, you're losing the athleticism, and two, Jalen doesn't understand yet that he can't make that throw. He still throws it, and it's an interception. Lamar understands. Fuck
Wait
that.
a minute. Wait a minute. So you're gonna penalize
A young guy. That's it.
Hold on, no.
Jalen is
I just want to make sure I understand the groundwork here.
Go ahead.
Because what I like to do, I have conversations with people weeks ago, and I always keep it in the back of my mind, right? I always keep it in the back of my mind because I know eventually it'll come back up, right? So
Right, that's what I said. As of right now,
hold
Jalen
on,
is in
no,
the
Mike,
decision making.
take my hand. Come
I ain't
with
taking your
me.
hand.
Just real quick. Take this walk with me, my guy. Real quick. Take this walk with me.
Mhm.
So we're gonna penalize Jalen Hurts because hey, at least he throws the ball, right? Granted, he doesn't have there's some passes he can't throw, but hey, he throws the ball, right? So we're gonna penalize him for that, right?
No, I'm penalizing him for throwing an interception in a ball.
So
he
you're gonna
never
penalize
should
him.
throw.
Okay, so you're gonna penalize him for making a decision, a poor decision that results in a poor result, correct? Okay. Trey, I don't want you to go nowhere because I want you to. Why is it that when I said the same fucking thing about Russell Westbrook not being able to shoot threes, and I said the Lakers should trade for Ben Simmons, and everyone said, "Oh, well, at least Russell Westbrook would at least shoot the ball." It's crazy how now, and Mike, you were one of those people who were hurting my feelings. You made me cry that night, Mike. You made me cry because I was like, "Yo, Mike is gonna be on my side. Everything. You sided with Freddie. You made me cry."
Right.
So why is it we're penalizing Jalen Hurts for that, but then Russell Westbrook gets a slide because at least he's shooting it?
Because here's how I look at it. And number one is two completely different games.
It's the same thing. They're making poor
but it's not. See, because here's what happens. Guys. Hear me out.
I'm hearing you.
4th and 10. You're going for the ball, right? Now there's a minute left in the game. That's perfectly fine. Jalen makes that decision, the game's fucking over. If Russ bricks a 3, you can foul, get the ball back, do whatever you want to do, and you still have 2 or 3 shots to tie that game or figure it out.
Oh, you mean like what he did against the Celtics the first time we played
the game?
He bricked that 3, and then they ended up costing him the game.
Right, but you have so many opportunities to knock down those 3s, and honestly, there's a 50-50 shot that it goes in. There's a 50-50 shot that it doesn't. With Jalen knows I don't make that throw. I've never made.
Whoa! No!
Russ can make the shot.
No! I'm not letting him get away with that.
How?
Because if Jalen Hurts makes the throw, there's a 50% chance he completes the pass,
right,
and a 50% chance it gets intercepted. So I'm not going to let you get away with that.
It's different in football. You know why? Because no one's standing there ready to take the fucking ball off the rim because that's goaltending. What I'm saying is there's an elite defender right there, maybe even 2. I don't even know because I haven't watched a single Eagles game all year, as I should. But hey, I don't care. But it's definitely something when you look at it. And Trey, tell me if I'm wrong. Like Russ can shoot 3s. He's shot them before.
Say that. Hold on, real quick. See, this is why I like Nate. You feel me? Nate got my back. This is how you need to be, Mike. Nate got my back.
I got your back, dog. I'm just saying.
Was 22nd in passing yard. He was in the bottom 10. It's horrible. Oh, and by the way, Lamar can throw. He can't read his mechanics are bad.
No, he can't.
He can't throw. Let's just get that. Let's get that out of
the year that also. I mean, he might
I
be.
don't think his reading his defenses is that bad.
No, it's not that bad. He's just
it's not that bad. Because listen, there's no way you're gonna tell me his reading defense is so horrible when this dude literally can see the hole and then hit it.
Right.
There's
My thing with Lamar,
go ahead.
Lamar relies on his athleticism to make throws. Lamar does not have the patience of a Russell Wilson, of an Aaron Rodgers, of Tom Brady. Sorry, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady the second.
Junior. Matter of fact, the second. Let's make it fancy. Let's add some more words.
Second. It's right regardless, but it's definitely something where he doesn't read it to that ability to where he understands that his mechanics can help him win a game. He's not like Patrick Mahomes making sidearm throws. He's not like any guy like that. He relies on his athleticism to boot that bitch 40 yards down the field to Hollywood Brown or Andrews or Bateman or whoever or Sammy Watkins, whoever it is. My problem with Lamar is he's great at reading defenses, coach. I think you're wrong there. I think he can read a defense like anybody, and anybody that is a quarterback and can rush over 100 yards a game can read a fucking defense. I think that's where you misconstrue.
And not only that, when the deep ball isn't there, he goes to the check down.
Right.
So
like he understands.
Like in terms of the only flaw Lamar Jackson has is he can't throw the ball consistently. That's it. But in talk about his instincts, his him being able to read a defense, he can do all of that. The only problem is when he throws, when he tries to throw the ball past 10 yards,
right? It
looks awkward for him because again, the main problem is he's never had to do that. He's been able to make his entire career being a runner. You know what I mean? Now, can he develop it? Of course, kid's only 24. So it's not like this is who he is, but my thing is I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh yeah, he can throw it," because again, me personally, I believe that's the only flaw he has in his game.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to tell you though, is that's why I take him over Jalen, is because Lamar will check the ball down. Jalen's like, fuck it, and he throws it. I'm just like,
but I like that. Hold on, but I like that ballsiness though. I like it.
I do
get your point because, like I said, I'll be honest. Picking between Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, this is closer than a lot of people really think. Like a lot of people think that, I'm telling you, Mike, it's closer than people.
It's getting closer. It's definitely getting closer.
Yeah. I'm talking about right now.
Right now, it's not that close. But if they were the same age, I don't know who I would take.
Maybe. Me personally, I like Jalen Hurts. But again, you taking Lamar, I'm not mad at that because, like I said, I genuinely believe that picking between them two, it's closer than people want to admit.
Yeah.
I think it's way closer than people want to admit, you know? And honestly, like I said, and I get what you're saying about, you know, Lamar, you know, no, not Lamar, you know, Jalen Hurts kind of doing that. My thing is, if he can limit it, I was gonna say, if he can limit it, if he would do those plays like twice a game,
right?
Matter of fact, I'll live with 4 times a game, once per quarter. I'll live with that. I'll be like, you know what? I think that's all right.
Right.
You know,
it's fairly consistent.
Yeah, because the thing is, you know, especially with the Giants, he threw 2 questionable passes back to back. And again, the Jalen Reagor, because a lot of people came to his defense saying Jalen Reagor, you know, bobbled some passes, which is true.
Nah.
But at the same time, I can't let Jalen Hurts off the hook because there were a couple passes that he kind of messed up on.
Questionable, right?
Right. So, you know, again, me personally, when I look at Lamar, I just think, I genuinely believe all he needs to do is have one game where he just sits in the pocket and just throws.
Right.
And if he does that, if he has that one game where he has a good game, stay in the pocket the whole time, they got the win, maybe he'll feel comfortable with that. But he had one of those games earlier this year. I think there was one game where he threw for like, what was it? It was like, was it this year? It was like one game he threw for like 400 yards. It was like earlier this year. Hold on, let me double check because I'm almost 442 yards with 4 touchdowns. It was against Indy. They won 31-25. Right. And I would assume that game would carry.
And that's solid, but we've seen Lamar throw over 400 yards too. Like, it's just not consistent.
And my thing is, I don't want him to throw over 400 yards. That's not what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But when you have Mark Andrews wide open and you're overthrowing him, that's a problem.
Right.
You know, when you're underthrowing Hollywood Brown, that's a problem. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not blaming at all. I'm not saying it's just Lamar because obviously there have been times where he hit Hollywood in the hands and Hollywood dropped it. No debate. But for me, I don't know, Trey. Maybe I'm bugging because when I said I would take Jalen, you kind of looked at me a little funny. I'm assuming you were Mike and you would take Lamar, right?
Oh yeah, I'll protect Lamar without a doubt. It's just the tangibles, like with Lamar. Even if with Lamar, what I believe is the options. Like, you have an opportunity to. You have an opportunity. Like, you don't know if he's going to take off, if he's going to throw, if he's going to make a, you know what I'm saying, like you said, the check down, if he's going to air it out. Like, he has the ability to throw, and that, for me, that's enough. He doesn't have whether he's going to make the think how many of the passes in which were dropped by Hollywood, had he caught those, what the outcome would have been of those games. Even though some of them they did end up winning, but just think about that. Like, that we don't know what would have happened in the future if it would have been completed, and he has those options. So that's just one of the things in which I see is, like, as long as he has an ability of those options, then it makes him a whole different aspect of it, as opposed to Jalen Hurts. Like Mike was saying, Jalen can't make all those throws or isn't capable of making the throws, but yet he tries it anyway, which diminishes the fact. And he's not as athletic. So the athleticism is definitely a game changer. And after that, you can't teach athleticism, but you can teach him to be a better passer.
And that's right, you know, in terms of the athleticism, you know, that's something you're just, you know, born with. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of mold them. And again, he doesn't have to be, you know, like all of a sudden look like Tom Brady, you know what I mean? But, you know, he just needs to be.
Think about right. Vic. Vic wasn't the, you know what I'm saying, as Vic went on in his career, he became a better, like, he was slinging that thing. Even late in his career, he was still effortlessly slinging it. But, you know what I'm saying, we knew who he was, and that's where everyone looked at that wow factor of, like, is he finna get it and go? And then he stopped. Then when he came back, and after he came back out of got back out of prison, he had Philadelphia on par to be a contender until he got injured. So prior to that, you know what I'm saying, he was good. Like, you could say, it was like, oh snap, Vic is back. He has the ability to get up to take off, but he became a passer, and he was dangerous as a passer. So that could be, I think that could be Lamar at some point.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I genuinely believe, you know, I like I said, man, I would take Jalen Hurts over Lamar. That's just me. But like I said, I'm telling you, the conversation between them, it's really not. It's not as far fetched as people make it out to be. You know, like they play very similar. You know what I mean? Like that conversation, because I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, no way, what are you talking about?" And it's like when you say that, that kind of lets me know, you know, you're not watching at least Eagles football because they play very, very similar. Mm-hmm. So, but you know, to each their own. This has been ASAP in the morning. Obviously, Trey, appreciate you being here. To Jay, Mike, Spotlight, thank you guys for swinging by. Appreciate the chat for being here and making this show even more fun than what it is. Trey, you got any final thoughts?
Oh, yes, of course. Be sure to check us out. Army versus Navy tomorrow. It's 8-3 Army versus 3-8 Navy, but in any case, it's a rivalry that I'm very sure is going to be worth seeing. And of course, you know it's go Army beat Navy on mines.
You heard it here first, so that way when Navy wins, we can go ahead and have our fun at Trey's expense. This has been your boy Pride on behalf of everyone, Spotlight, Mike, and Jay, as well as Trey. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for keeping us company. We'll be back here Monday, 9 Central, 10 Eastern in the morning. Be safe.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.